I've been here for 38 years, and I cannot articulate how disappointed I am in we the people that we allow this to fall so easily. Having 38 years ago, because I bought into it, yes, I wanted to come here. 38 years later, after being here and realizing how it's more fast, it's more smokes and mirrors, I am ready to leave. I can't financially leave right now, but the first opportunity financially that I can get, I am leaving. And I'm leaving on principle because I feel that if I, as an immigrant, remain in a fascist country, I've been here for 38 years, and I cannot articulate how disappointed I am in we the people that we allow this to fall so easily.
We the people. She's been here 38 years. She's not a citizen. She's a foreigner. She came here. She never became a citizen. She's wearing a fucking swastika earring, this person. She's calling America a fascist country. She has a fucking swastika earring on. Do you understand what's going on here? What we're dealing with? This person is one of the people in New York. They're illegal aliens that run around in New York dressed up in these costumes and shake people down for cash. That's what this is. I don't know if you've ever been to New York or you know what New York is. Sorry. That's who we're dealing with. That is the criminal aliens we are dealing with. Why is my camera fucked up again? What is going on? Man. Anyway, so, yeah, she needs to go, like, immediately. Wow. Yeah, can we help her pack? Definitely. This is just ridiculous. I thought that was a funny video. I thought I would play it just because I saw it. I was like, wow, this is bad. Hello, everybody. Sorry about the late start tonight. I wasn't actually going to stream, but my grandson fell asleep, so I thought I would stream, and now he's running around again, and so it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. But HJ Remy's here first. Hello, everyone. Remember to slap the like button on your way, and that's right. Pat Hacker's here. How you doing? Sharon Tyler's here. How you doing? Great to see you. Yes. Wow, you guys are having. Lynn's here. What's up, Lynn? Audra's here. Nice to see you, Audra. Great to see you. Rachel Boone's here. Great to see you. Diamond G's here. What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah. And then the Alliance. That's right. And then, oh, Dan's here. What's up, Dan? How you doing? Great. Hey, Lightning fan. What's up? Bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. That's right. Tell her to go. Tuckweed. I'll pay your one-way ticket. Bye, Felicia. Yeah. I mean, it's the nerve. I came here 38 years ago because I had the promise of a bunch of free shit and all the stuff I was going to get paid. Wow. Nanny Goat, what's up? Yeah. Yep, she can leave. Yeah, if we are so damn racist and xenophobic, she can take the 1,000 and self-deport. And Tim Lorsa says, I give her one-way ticket, ICE give her a ticket, that's her problem. Yeah, that's good. Linda, what's up? How you doing? It's cold in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains, where the something, and I forgot to shut off the ads. I knew I forgot to do something. Sorry. It's taken care of now. All right. Oof, my bad. I always forget something. It's always something, trying to get everything set and going. And, I apologize. It's cold here in California too. Stay with my grandson, but he did go back to sleep. Thank God. Okay. Cold for you. You mentioned him, now he'll be cruising in. Yeah, it's like he's like a Beetlejuice. If you mention his name 3 times, he shows up. -12 wind chills tonight in Illinois. Wow. Well, be careful, Nanny Goat. Do not go out for any subway because you might get attacked by somebody that puts a clothesline around your neck and yells, it's MAGA country. That's what happened last time it was that cold there. Just saying. Who is texting me? Getting reminders from Facebook to start my stream. My stream's already started, Facebook. What are you doing? What are you doing, Facebook? Why are you telling me to start my stream? It's already started. 44 in Savannah. That's cold there, too. That's cold in Savannah. Glad you escaped to Arizona. Wow. Let's see. We got a couple other short. No subway in MAGA country. Yeah. We got this. We have the senator. All right. This is the U.S. Senator, Senator Mark Warner. He's calling for a military coup. He's actually calling for a military coup. He says, I think in many ways the uniformed military may save us from Trump. What?
Unprecedented disrespect when they were all brought to get a pep rally in front of Hegseth and Trump. This is an administration that's fired, uniform generals from the head of the NSA, the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Mm-hmm. And I think in many ways, the uniformed military may help save us from this president and his lame people like Hegseth, because I think their commitment is to the Constitution and obviously not to Trump, and I expect Bradley to adhere to that.
So, Senator, let's go a little further
Wow.
on this. What are concerns you have about the legality of these strikes at all?
Oh. Yes. How many traders like Mark Warner? There's a lot more than I thought. More traders than a lot more traders than I thought there was. I can't believe the amount of stuff we're seeing. I really can't. It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. Then we got this. We got more sedition in Minnesota. We got the Minnesota police. We saw yesterday, we played a video of the police chief saying that how he wanted people to call the police, that they would arrest ICE agents for kidnapping. Well, now you got this guy, they're telling the people in Somalia, in Somalia to Somalia first, proud to be Somalian. Don't get back to Somalia. Oh no, this is unfair. Don't send me to Somalia. My life is ruined. Yeah.
اسمع قانا ayaa ka caawinaa wixii aragti inaad samaysid waa fahanna soo maaha arrinta kale ku soo xigta waxay tahay haddii qof aad u malaynaysid inuu aad hubin inuu yahay dowladda inuu ka soco sida ice oo kale inuu yahay ama uu yahay askari oo aad hubin inuu askari runa yahay qof kasta iska soo xiran kara dharka waxaan ku leenahay waxaa inaad soo wacdo Minneapolis Police 911 911 waa inaad soo wacdo si aad u hubsato.
He just said, if you see, I speak Somalian. Don't ask me why. And he just said that if you see ICE and they're going to arrest anybody from any Somalian, call the Minneapolis police and we will come and arrest ICE. That's what he just said. I translated it, and I wouldn't lie.
inuu qofkan horta police ma bayahaba inuu qof kasta ma taqaan marka iska soo xiran kara oo dadkeena markaan handidi kara maadaama
And then he just said it's Kafka-esque what's happening. So he's using all the buzzwords to get you.
ay dhacday magaaladani in lagu dilay laba qof police ma aqaan.
Then he said something about free lamb on Tuesday at the bazaar. I don't know what that was all about. Yeah, sure. It's the Sharia police. It is. Yeah. State police going to overthrow the federal agents. Yeah. Well, that's actually city police. But yes, Peggy, you are right. We have a war on drugs. We've had a war on drugs for my entire life. And now they're actually doing something about it. Catherine Kay's here. Good evening, Jim and the Jim Somniacs. It's great. Yeah, they really are desperate, aren't they? They're desperate. Yeah. Only 17 likes. Sometimes you got to refresh it to, civil war. That's what they want. They really do. They want a civil war. Probably a DEI hire. Who knows? And then this story is very important because I don't know if you guys remember or know anything about how the Congress works. But Congress passes the law. It's signed by the president, and it's the judiciary's job to enforce, to rule, rule on the law and whatever. But we have a judge, an Indian-born Canadian citizen judge that was put on the bench by Barack Obama, named Indira Talwani, who you've heard her name before many times. She just ruled that Congress doesn't have the authority to decide where they spend money. Because Congress passed a law, the big, beautiful bill, and they said no more funding for Planned Parenthood, which they have the right to do. It's Congress. Planned Parenthood doesn't have the right to our money, our tax dollars for abortions. They don't. Should we be more concerned about Civil War or World War III? I would say Civil War, honestly. World War III is not going to happen. People are trying to push it, but it's not going to happen. We're much closer to a civil war than we are to a third world war. We really are. Yeah, civil war. Any stuff with Venezuela, Mexico, anything in this hemisphere happening is not going to lead to World War III. What's up, Eastwood Farms? So yeah, Obama judge blocks Trump. They see how they put this, blocks Trump from cutting funds to Planned Parenthood in 22 states. It's the Congress passed the law, not Trump. All right. The same judge previously blocked Trump in a similar case before it was appealed. So this judge already ruled once. The Constitution says that the judiciary has the power of the purse. Obviously, they must. Obviously, it must. Yeah. No. A federal judge in Boston issued a preliminary injunction against the Trump administration, cutting federal funds to Planned Parenthood. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani in Boston sided with the group of Democrat state attorney generals who filed a lawsuit against the provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill signed into law in July. So this is a law. This is not the Trump administration. This is the law saying they don't get any more money. We want a court order stopping federal government from playing politics with your healthcare system. It's not politics with the healthcare system. Talwani said the lawsuit would likely prevail when considered fully, but she paused the injunction to allow the administration 7 days to appeal. She's already been overruled once in this. Already once. She said this previously months ago, and it got appealed. The appeal said, no, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So she's just doing it again. The same judge also blocked the cutting of abortion funds in July, but the appeals court allowed the cuts to continue while the lawsuit progressed because it's a law. It's not executive action. This is a law signed by Congress. Congress has the authority over the purse. If they say we're not spending money on something, it's not, no fucking judge can tell Congress to spend money. They can't. That's a violation of the separation of powers. And we're going to get into something about separation of powers right after this story because, whoa boy. The former order was criticized as unjust judicial activism because it was. All right. Planned Parenthood said at least 20 clinics had shut down since the order to cut funding was renewed during the appeal. It argued that as many as 200 centers would shut down if the order was allowed to stand. Yes, Q-Ed, we are 100% right. We need to ban all foreign-born judges. Alexis McGill, the CEO of Planned Parenthood Federation, argued that the order would reduce availability of other health care provided to women. Okay. Does it say somewhere in the Constitution, somewhere, anywhere, that health care is provided by the government? Anywhere? Or paid for by the government? No. The case is about making sure patients who use Medicaid as their insurance to get birth control, cancer screenings, STI, and treatment can continue to do so at their local Planned Parenthood center. They can get it other places. We'll make that clear in court. Among those celebrating the order was New York Attorney General Letitia James, an avowed opponent of the president. We want a court order stopping the federal government from playing politics. Oh, okay. We'll continue our lawsuit to defend New Yorkers' health care and reproductive freedom from unconstitutional attacks. How is it an unconstitutional attack when Congress passed a fucking law saying we're not spending money on this? They did not say Planned Parenthood couldn't exist. They didn't say Planned Parenthood couldn't do all these things. They just said Planned Parenthood isn't getting our fucking money. That's all they said. This is retarded. Oh, look at this. Former Planned Parenthood director committed suicide after apartment raided by police in child pornography investigation. Wow, that's very interesting. That's an interesting headline. We're going to keep that off to the side. Maybe we'll look at this later if we get time. Yes, we'll keep this off to the side. Maybe we'll look at this later. Talwani was appointed to the court in 2013 by President Barack Obama. She's also responsible for blocking Trump's cuts to the SNAP program. And she was the one who told Trump, find the money. I don't care. Pay it. I don't care where you get it from. The president responded by blaming Democrats for refusing to vote to end the shutdown, which is exactly what happened. This is The Blaze? Who the fuck is writing at The Blaze? This sounds like it's written by someone at NPR. Abortion is only legal murder. Democrats are the toddlers who throw such a fit they hurt themselves in the process. Gundam Zig, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. Great to see you. Joe's here. What's up, Joe? Great to see you too, buddy. Federal ruling blocks Trump's Medicaid funding cut. This is the Congress made these cuts. I don't know what is going on here. Oh, of course, look, it's Kimberly Hayek. Yeah, I wonder, she's like, I love abortion. We have to have abortion. The judge prevented enforcement of a provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill. So a law, not Trump, a law. Trump has to faithfully execute the law that would eliminate Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. Judge Talwani ruled that the attorney generals filed a lawsuit are likely to succeed on the merits. It creates an unconstitutional condition on states' Medicaid participation. What? Wow. says the law is impermissibly ambiguous. So which is it? Is it ambiguous, or does it make all these things? It doesn't. This is like, these are judges that just write in circles to try to make things that they want to happen seem like it's supposed to happen when it's completely the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, we are living in a judicial fucking coup. Look at this. This is from Albany, New York. So leftist says, court order secures Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood. Really? Huh. New York Attorney General announced a victory in a lawsuit, citing a provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill. So yeah, we saw all this. Politico, same thing. Judge blocks provision of law that strips Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood facilities. All right. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh man, where is it? I got it right here. All right, here we go. So this is what I wanted to talk about. All right. Judge Boasberg was requested, along with another judge, to come to Congress to explain himself for these rulings and how he got these cases and why he ruled the way he did when, that they're investigating a possible impeachment. Well, he not only refuses to cooperate with Congress's early stage of potential impeachment procedures, the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing scheduled for later today has been postponed for some reason. He won't even answer on his own basic questions about his authorization of a gag order on subpoenas from a member of Congress. Because yes, he authorized gag orders on stuff that he had no right to do. But it's hilarious. Boasberg's demanding for months details about the internal deliberations related to the president's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, including refusal to return planes already out of the U.S. He has set a court order deadline for Friday for every Trump administration official involved to submit a written declaration to defend their decision-making. The response, not by Boasberg, to whom the letter was addressed, but by the director of the administrative office of the U.S. courts, whatever the hell that is, should result in a subpoena for Boasberg and immediate defunding of the D.C. federal court system. Because I want you to show what they responded. They said, we can't come to Congress to explain ourselves because it would encroach upon the separation of powers and the independence of the judiciary for judges to be required to explain their deliberative process in reaching judicial decisions. So they say, we don't answer to anybody. They are the rulers, the judges. They don't answer to anyone. Do you understand what just happened here? What's up, Chris? Thanks for stopping by. Chris says, Jim, with the headset, you look the makings of an NFL coach. Time to put the show aside and put your hat in the ring for the New York Giants. I don't know, man, if I could actually... I don't. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. With that, $5, folks, we are $5 closer to our goal. Thank you so much, Chris. That means that we are $95 away from the first additional hour and $45 away from Bellavision. Yes, Bellavision. But I appreciate it. You know what, Chris? You're gonna have to give me. You're gonna have to message me on X with your Steam information because I've been starting to play some video games now that I got the new computer up and running good and it's not crashing anymore. So maybe we could play some golf or something on Steam sometime. So yeah, so this is what they're saying, that they can't they can't answer. They don't have to answer. The judges don't have to answer to anybody. They answer to no one. They're above the law. They're above everything. This part of the letter appears to prove the DOJ, including Jack Smith and federal judges, including Beryl Howell and Jeb Brosberg, broke the law. Under the Stored Communications Act, anyone who authorizes a non-disclosure order prohibiting a company from notifying its client about the existence of a subpoena for records must determine one of 5 outcomes, including flight from prosecution, destruction of evidence, witness tampering, intimidation. Something would occur if the client received notice. I have also called the D.C. court system a rubber stamp. I've always called the D.C. court system a rubber stamp for the DOJ until January 20, 2025. But this confession takes it to a new unlawful level. Yeah, basically. Applications for NDOs typically do not attach to subpoenas. So that means they want a non-disclosure reason, they don't put them on the subpoenas. They identified the subject accounts by a signifier, and as a result, the applications would not reveal whether a particular phone number belonged to a member of Congress. Now, this is what this is about, is the Congress is pissed that this judge signed orders for them to be spied on by the DOJ, and then the law that was voted on long ago mandates that any time they're spying on Congress, that the Congress has to get notified. They're not supposed to do it. Hey, what's up, Snarf? How you doing? I'm here. Well, I was waiting. And then this also leads to this. So, as the judicial branch bureaucrats just gave the Trump administration a perfect response to Judge Boasberg's demand for answers from top officials about their decisions not to return the planes carrying the illegals on March 15th. It would encroach upon the separation of powers and the independence of the executive for executive branch officials to be required to explain their deliberative processes in reaching executive decisions. Yes, that's exactly what they should write. Go fuck yourself. You wrote "go fuck yourself" when the Congress wanted to talk to you. We're going to say you go fuck yourself. That's the whole thing about being co-equal branches. If the judiciary can tell Congress to go fuck themselves, the executive can tell the judiciary to go fuck themselves. And speaking of Congress and telling people to go fuck themselves, Jim Jordan subpoenas Jack Smith. They should subpoena Boasberg. That's what they should do. All this bullshit they're screwing around, just subpoena him. Send him a subpoena. Show up. If he doesn't show up when he gets a subpoena, arrest him. Just like they arrested Navarro and Bannon and all the rest of them. I'm going to post what I sent you. I don't know what you sent me. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan subpoenaed former special counsel Jack Smith for a closed-door deposition on December 17th. Chairman Jordan also subpoenaed Jack Smith for documents related to his lawfare investigation into Trump. The Committee on the Judiciary is continuing to conduct oversight of the operation of the Office of Special Counsel you led, specifically your team prosecutions of President Trump and his co-defendants. Due to your service as special counsel, the committee believes you possess information that is vital to the oversight of this matter, Jim Jordan said in his letter to Jack Smith. Based upon communications with your counsel, we understand you are available to testify at deposition on December 17th. Accordingly, please find and enclose a testimonial subpoena for a deposition at 10 a.m. on December 17th, 2025, and a document subpoena for the requested materials to be produced to the committee by December 12th, 2025. Smith's attorney responded to CBS News in a statement. Nearly 6 weeks ago, Jack offered to voluntarily appear before the House committee in an open hearing to answer any questions they have about the investigation. We are disappointed the offer was rejected. The American people will be denied the opportunity to hear directly from Jack on these topics. So they want it on the open so he can slander people in Congress and not be held responsible. That's what he wants. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan subpoenaed former special counsel on Wednesday for a deposition, escalating their investigation into one of President Trump's top political foes. How is he one of, isn't it? No, Trump was one of his top political foes. I mean, they're like twisting it. Trump didn't go after Smith. Smith went after Trump. I mean, it's crazy. It's just beyond crazy. It's just beyond crazy. Really is. Jordan directed Smith to appear before the committee on December 17th, according to a copy of the subpoena reviewed by Fox News Digital. Due to your service as special counsel, the committee believes you possess information. Yeah, we saw that. The forthcoming deposition, which is set to take place behind closed doors, comes as House and Senate Republicans have zeroed in on Smith's election-related investigation of Trump, describing it as a scandal that unnecessarily swept up hundreds of Republican lawmakers, GOP entities, Trump allies, and media outlets as part of the probe. In October, Jack Smith spoke out for the first time about his politically motivated investigation into Trump during a sit-down conversation with Dirty Prosecutor Andrew Weissman. When are Bill and Hillary going to show up? I don't know. I think they sued to try and quash the subpoenas or something. I'm not sure, because I think they both got subpoenaed for the Epstein stuff. Andrew Weissman ran Robert Mueller's Trump witch hunt, and many believe he was involved in other cases against Trump. Joe, remember tonight? Good logic raid? Oh, really? Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Well, I thank everybody who showed up. That's great. That's wonderful. Oh, awesome. Well, thank everybody for here. We're just going over some news and stuff. If you're new here, please hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please think about subscribing. And, we're just talking about some news and stuff like that. Smith lashed out at Trump DOJ for bringing cases against criminal Democrats and deep staters while defending his own cases against President Trump. Of course he did. Jack Smith was appointed as special counsel in 2022 by Joe Biden's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to investigate Trump just one day after Trump announced his 2024 bid for the White House. Several months later, in August, Biden sent machine gun-toting federal agents to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. In June 2023, Jack Smith indicted Trump on 37 federal counts in Miami for lawfully storing presidential records at Mar-a-Lago estates, which was protected by Secret Service agents. Trump was charged with 31 counts under the Espionage Act for willful retention of national defense information and 6 other process crimes stemming from his conversations with his lawyer. And this is the staged photos that they put all these covers in and did this and made it look like this, basically to frame Trump into public. In a separate case in Washington, D.C., Jack Smith indicted Trump on 4 counts: conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. Jack Smith defended his cases against Trump and said the idea that politics would play a role in his cases is absolutely ludicrous. Well, I hope he's got all his records together. These are team players who don't want to do anything but good in the world. Oh, yeah, do-gooders. Everyone knows about do-gooders, right? Do-gooders are not good people. Yeah. They took a photo of the frame job. They definitely did. Yes. Yeah, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hey, Raiders, nice to join you here. What's up, everyone who's here? Thank you to people that are here on Rumble, the people who are here on YouTube. I get very concerned when I see how easy it is to demonize these people for political ends when they're just the very sort of people I think we should be celebrating. Just last year, Judge Aileen Cannon dismissed Jack Smith's case based on unlawful appointment and funding of the special counsel. Jack Smith's D.C. case was dismissed after President Trump won the 2024 election. New York Post has it, ex-special counsel Jack Smith subpoenaed by House Republicans in review of Trump probes. This isn't really the Trump probes that they're being called for. He's being called in because he spied on Congress people. They wouldn't give a shit if it was just Trump.
President, question, given you have the FBI director and attorney general here today, Jim Jordan has asked Jack Smith to appear in front of the House Judiciary.
You mean deranged, Jack? He's a deranged individual, yeah.
He's asked him to.
Well, they should. I'm surprised it takes so long. You know, we're talking about violent crime. What about the crime against a political opponent. That's what we have to talk about,
Mr. Jordan
too.
would like to understand the full extent to which the Biden-Harris Justice Department weaponized federal law enforcement. What do you think the committee will find out, Mr. Smith?
I think it was the worst weaponization of a political opponent in the history of the world, let alone this country. And I hope that everybody's, they're involved in it. I'm not. I'm the one that had to suffer through it and ultimately win. But what they did was criminal. Deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal. And I noticed his interviewer was, I think that was Weissman. And I hope they're going to look into Weissman, too. Weissman's a bad guy. And he had somebody in Lisa, who was his puppet, worked in the office really as the top person. And I think that she should be looked at very strongly. There was tremendous criminal activity having to do. If we don't have fair elections in this country, we're not going to have a country. And I've said it from the beginning, fair elections and borders. And we need also fair press, because if you don't have fair press, it's very tough. And we've got the strongest border of anybody. Nobody has a border. We have a border where the numbers just came out again. You saw 0 people came in illegally. Now, we do take people into our country legally, but 0 people. But, you're talking about a different subject. You're talking about political crime. They have committed massive political crime. I hope they're looking at Shifty Schiff. I hope they're looking at all these people. And I'm allowed to find out. I'm allowed to, I'm, in theory, the chief law enforcement officer. But I have a very good, talented group. This is about something else. But I hope they're looking at political crime, because there's never been so much political crime against a political opponent as what I had to go through. They raided my house in Florida. It was an illegal raid. I have a lawsuit that was doing very well. And when I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say, give me X dollars, right? And I don't know what to do with the lawsuit. It's a great lawsuit. And now I won. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right? So I don't know, but that was a lawsuit that was very strong, very powerful.
I wonder. I should ask Joe or somebody, or Bronca or somebody. Can Trump settle the lawsuit against himself and just be like, yes, you win, and give himself money? Or wouldn't that be some kind of corruption, maybe, or some kind of self-dealing? I wonder. Hey, Deb Miller, thank you for the $5. Hello, I followed the following here. Thank you, Deb Miller from Texas. Thank you. With that that puts us $5 closer to our first goal of the evening. We are $90 away from the first additional hour and $40 away from Bellavision. Bellavision. Thank you so much. Anyone up for a dad joke? We're always up for a dad joke. And no, we are not a cult either. We are just a group of like-minded individuals who are trying to follow the truth wherever it leads. Yay, the following follows each other, and we all dig. Dig. Got to dig it. He is pissed, as he should be. Yeah, 90% of bald men own a comb. As a result, Melania discarded all her designer panties. She's gone commando ever since. Oh, well, I guess that probably makes Trump happy, right? In this country, yes. In the history of the world, not really. Stalin, Hitler, Mao did quite a bit of weaponization, but I get his hyperbolic. They just can't part with them. Oh, I get it. Conflict of interest. That's what I was thinking, like conflict of interest. Yeah, cowbell. Definitely. Yeah. Did Trump really sue the president or Biden when he was the president? He sued the federal government. All right. And since the president is the head of the federal government, that's kind of what he means, that he's suing himself. Yeah, if he won the lawsuit, he'd have to take money from one hand and put it in the other. Kind of, but not really. Why do bald men have holes in their pockets from running their fingers through their hair? Okay, get it. We are a cult. No, not a cult. Lol. All right. So let's see. There's a little bit more to this.
Raided illegally my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They went through the drawers of my young son. They went through all of the cabinets and drawers of the First Lady. She walked in, she said, wow, what happened? Because she's very meticulous, and this wasn't so meticulous. As she looked into the drawers and she saw everything a mess. It's what they did against a person that just got out of office. And then you look at these corrupt people. You look at Hunter Biden. You look at the signature. As an example, the Auto Pen. I just signed so many different things. An admiral, a four-star general. I'm signing them left and right, the commissions. And by the way, I want to compliment John Thune and also Mike, our great speaker. But John Thune, all of a sudden I'm getting these things by the hundreds. I was getting one every 2 weeks. It would have been 4 years before you got them in more. You would have had some that didn't even get in, all because of Democrat obstruction. So John Thune did a great job. I must have signed 200 into the administration. We're just about caught up. It's amazing. And so compliments to John. He had to do some things that were very tough to do that he didn't want to do, but he was forced to do it by the Democrats. And as far as the shutdown's concerned, this is a Democrat Schumer shutdown. And he's trying.
All right. So the House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan formally summoned ex-special counsel Jack Smith to appear for a deposition. So this guy, oh, I'm not political. I just look like fucking one of the guys who worked for Barria. Mm-hmm. Smith has publicly defended investigations, contending a jury would have convicted him. Had Trump not won a second term. Look at this Pakistani immigrant now with guns and plans to carry out a mass shooting, a chilling note about martyrdom. Wow. Same thing from Newsmax. Rep. Jordan subpoenas Jack Smith. And then we got this story, which is interesting at this time. It says, Trump signs bill to deepen U.S.-Taiwan ties amid China concerns. Joe Cesario, I'll keep the cold thing on the download. Just don't scare people away yet. You got to wait till we get them inducted first. Hey, what's up, Cat Snow? How you doing? Thanks for being here. Oh, what's up? Rod's a member for 4 months. Is not a cult member. MAGA. Make America great again. That's right. No auto pen. The Senate sucks. Start doing appointments. Yeah, they need to. Hey, what's up, Kansas Meemaw 8346? I'm here from Joe's show. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, welcome. There's plenty here from Joe's following. U.S. President Trump on December 2nd signed into law a measure forcing the U.S. State Department to review guidelines for the country's engagement with Taiwan. According to the White House, amid escalating concerns that China could move against the self-governing island, the measure requires periodic State Department reviews to explain how the guidelines deepen the relationship between U.S. and Taiwan. The assessment, required at least every 5 years, also must identify and detail opportunities to lift self-imposed limitations on U.S.-Taiwan engagement. Yeah, self-imposed. Because we used to do all types of stuff with Taiwan. We used to recognize Taiwan as an ally. We used to be like, we would militarily cooperate with them. They would train with us. When I was in the Navy, there was Taiwanese sailors in classes with me, and we participated with them all the time. We had a defense pact with Taiwan for the longest time. And I can't remember if it was Jimmy Carter or Bill Clinton that did away with it. It might have been Carter. But anyway, or maybe it could actually, honestly, could have been Nixon or Ford too. I'm not 100% sure. I know we had a pact with them, like a defense pact, like a defense pact with Taiwan for many, many years after the fall of after the Republic of China had to flee to Taiwan when the communists won the Civil War. Representative Ann Wagner, the Missouri Republican who sponsored the bill, said the legislation sends the message that we stand strong against the Chinese Communist Party's dangerous efforts to dominate the region. Mr. Trump's signature comes after a call in which his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, reiterated the unification is critical issue for China, which considers the self-governed democracy of Taiwan part of its territory. At that time it was Taiwan, the Republic of China. Yes, there was two Chinas. And then they came up with this one China policy, which is retarded. But anyway, the island, Taiwan, the island, I can't remember the actual name for it. It has a name like, not Formosa or something like that, or maybe it is Formosa. Is that the Formosa Straits? Or something like that. Anyway, it has an island, but that island was never controlled by China until after World War II. The Chinese ROC went there. It was Carter? Okay. Yeah, I thought it was Carter. They went there, they fled there and took over the island. That island was controlled by the Japanese. until the end of World War II. Yeah, it's Formosa was the old name. Okay, yeah, Formosa. But that was controlled by the Japanese for hundreds of years. It was a Japanese island, and then when after Japan was defeated and everything, that island got basically taken over by the United States, which then gave it to China, like the Chinese government or whatever. But anyway, that's kind of getting into the weeds. But that was never part of the CCP. So them saying they want to unify with it, that was never part of China. So it doesn't make any sense. It also follows comments from the Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi that any Chinese attempt to seize Taiwan by force could pose an existential risk to her country, a classification that could open a legal pathway for Japanese troops to be involved in any potential response should the situation arise. Well, so, there's a lot of bad blood, they say, between the Chinese and Japanese, dirty knees, money please, all that stuff. Miss Takaichi's, what is that? Takaichi's remarks, I can't say that anyway, in which she appeared to be outlining hypothetical security contingencies in response to questions from the parliament, drew outrage in Beijing. Outrage, they say. In an effort to appease Xi, Trump to lift all tariffs on American honey exports. Oh, I see. That's a joke because he's Winnie the Pooh. I get it. Imperial China did move on the island centuries ago. It was a pirate haven, and Emperor ordered it taken to end it. Oh, that's right, Formosa. But the Japanese had it for a long time. Korea and China hate Japan. Yes. Takaichi? Okay. U.S. leaders have traditionally maintained an approach of strategic ambiguity when it comes to Taiwan. I don't know why. Why can't they just say, no, they're our ally, fuck you? That would be what makes the most sense. The U.S. reserves the right to use force, but does not explicitly say whether it would intervene in event of a Chinese attack on Taiwan. This is from U.S. World News Report. Taiwan cheered, China upset after Trump signs new Taiwan legislation into law. Taipei, Beijing. Taiwan expressed thanks. And China was upset on Wednesday after President Trump signed into law a legislation requiring the State Department to regularly review and update guidelines on how the United States officially interacts with Taipei. The United States is Taiwan's most important international backer, despite the lack of formal diplomatic ties. Like, why don't they have? I don't understand why they don't. What, Carter cut off diplomatic ties? That's crazy. It's a constant source of irritation in the Sino-U.S. relations, given Beijing's views the democratically governed island as its own. Oh, well, China also thinks that South America is their own. They probably think America's theirs, too. In 2021, Secretary of State Pompeo lifted restrictions on contracts between U.S. officials and their Taiwanese counterparts, but put in place after Washington recognized Beijing in 1979. Fucking Carter. Look at all the shit Carter did in 79. He did this. He gave away the fucking Panama Canal. Taiwan Assurance Implementation Act, which Trump signed into law on Tuesday, says the State Department should carry out reviews of contacts with Taiwan no less than once every 5 years. And the law affirms the value of U.S. interaction with Taiwan, supports closer Taiwan-U.S. relations, and stands as a firm symbol of our shared values of democracy, freedom, and respect for human rights. Taiwan Foreign Minister Lin Cheng-lung told reporters more frequent reviews of the guideline would allow Taiwanese officials into federal agencies for meetings. For example, though the legislation does not make an explicit mention of this, Beijing's foreign minister, spokesman Lin Zhan, said China firmly opposes any form of official contact between the United States and the Taiwan region of China. The Taiwan question is the core of China's core interests and the first red line that must not be crossed in China-U.S. relations. The United States should exercise the utmost prudence in handling the Taiwan question to stop all official interactions and not send any wrong signals to Taiwan independent separatist forces. Taiwan has always been independent. This is fucking retarded. This is like trying to convince yourself of something. That's like saying that I own that land next to me even though you don't. It's like, Taiwan government rejects China's territorial claims. It says it has a right to freely exchange with other countries. Trump, who met Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea in October, is expected to visit China in April. He should go to Taiwan. That's what he should do. Say, fuck this. we might have to take out and dust off some TR-3Bs if we're going to go to war with China. He. All right. And now, since they tried to get Hegseth on the whole thing where they were going after him about the boats, trying to say he committed war crimes and all this stuff. Well, now they're going after him and they're leaking classified information. Specifically claiming Kelly did this and saying the IG finds Hegseth's use of signal for the Houthi strike planning risked harm to U.S. mission and pilots. Sources say. Signal group discussing Yemen strikes included Atlantic journalist Jeffrey Goldberg by mistake. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth created risks to operational security by sharing sensitive details about the Houthi strikes over signal. I don't think he did. I don't think he shared anything sensitive. The Pentagon Inspector General's report determined, according to sources familiar with the report. Oh, so it's a classified report. So people are leaking classified information. Who's leaking it? Oh, Kelly. That's right. Senator Kelly's leaking it. His actions could have resulted in a failed U.S. mission objectives and potential harm to U.S. pilots. Pentagon chief spokesperson Sean Parnell said of the report, this Inspector General review is a total exoneration of Secretary Hegseth and proves what we knew all along. No classified information was shared. This matter is resolved and the case is closed. Hey, what's up, Hank? Great to see you. A classified version of the report has been handed over to the Senate Armed Services Committee. So the Senate has it. So the Senate is who leaked it. And it's available for members of the committee to view. An unclassified redacted version will be made public on Thursday. So, love the Bella, yeah. Hegseth shared details of the strikes in the second signal chat. The Trump administration officials used signal to discuss sensitive military strikes against the Houthis in Yemen in March. Then National Security Advisor Mike Waltz had created the chat, which included many of Trump's cabinet members and inadvertently added Jeffrey Goldberg. How do you fucking do that? The IG launched a probe in April following requests from top lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Yeah, those would be Democrats. It was intended to examine whether Hegseth had properly discussed operational plans and also review compliance with classification and records retention requirements. Hegseth signal messages revealed F-18 Navy fighter aircraft, MQ-9 drones, and Tomahawk cruise missiles would be used in the strikes. Okay. What does that mean? When I was a kid, we used to get a lot of stuff from Taiwan. Yeah. Taiwan was like an ally, like a legit, like we had a fucking pact with Taiwan, a defense pact. Like we were going to, you know what I mean? They were an ally. They were like, it was like a, not NATO, but they were a fucking ally. We had an alliance, a signed treaty with them. Yeah, okay. Hegseth said one of the messages notifying the chat that the attack was about to kick off. 4 bombs, also first Tomahawks launched. Waltz later wrote that the mission had been successful. The first target, their top missile guy, was positively ID walking into his girlfriend's building. It's now collapsed. Is this classified info? No. Saying, oh, we're going to saying what platforms you're going to use isn't really classified info. No. Because guess what? That's the only stuff they have. The Navy has F-18s. The Navy has Tomahawks. The Navy has drones. That's what they were using. They used what the Navy has. The report should offer clarity. Oh, yeah. So the administration has insisted nothing classified was shared over the chat. The report should offer clarity on that claim. Thursday will be a contentious day for the Pentagon. Admiral Frank Bradley, commander of Special Operations Command, will also be on Capitol Hill to offer his account of the September 2nd double-tap strike on alleged narco-terrorists. Yeah, back to this old story, they are pathetic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they tried to pull this shit with the double strike. This is just another thing they're trying to do. They really don't like Hegseth. They really want somebody in there that's going to fight Trump on everything. That's what they want. They want a defense secretary that's going to fight Trump. After one strike on a boat carrying 11 people and allegedly carting drugs toward the U.S. left 2 survivors clinging to the wreckage. Is there any proof? I should say allegedly. He ordered another strike to take out the remaining strugglers. No, he ordered a strike to sink the boat. As long as the boat is not sunk, they're not shipwrecked. Savvy? That's how that works. the boat is still floating, they're not shipwrecked. Lawmakers and legal analysts have claimed that killing shipwrecked survivors is a war crime. They're not shipwrecked. Bradley is briefing leaders on the House and Senate Armed Services Committee. Yeah, Secretary of War. Yeah, they're refusing to call him that. Original reporting for the Post claimed that the direction came from top, that Hegseth had directed the commander to kill them all. But Hegseth claimed he issued no such directive and did not witness a second strike. He said Bradley made the decision on his own, and he stands by it. U.S. officials who spoke with the New York Times said Hegseth had not ordered the second strike. Here's the Wall Street Journal says, Pentagon Signalgate review finds Hegseth violated Defense Department regulations. Regulations. Oh, okay. Who sets up those regulations? Wouldn't that be the Secretary of War or Secretary of Defense? So I guess that's so. Yeah. So right here, it's right there. So yeah. According to Mark Kelly, a Pentagon watchdog has found they're outing who leaked this. The Wall Street Journal is outing who leaked it. All right. Let me go to this one. All right. A Pentagon watchdog has found that Secretary Pete Hegseth violated some of the department's regulations, according to Senator Mark Kelly. So they provided Senator Mark Kelly with a classified document that's not for public consumption, and he gave out the information. So Mark Kelly leaked classified information. It's right here. Here's his name. Why isn't he under arrest already? Yeah. Has the astronaut been recalled to active duty yet? His court martial should have been done by the end of January. Hegseth needs to tell Trump to go ahead and do it already. Yeah. Well, isn't that up to Hegseth, actually? Was looking up some Taiwan Navy, some blast from the past, hand-me-down backbone of their fleet. Yeah. The Dems are going to end up with the military resenting them, not Trump. Very short-sighted. Taiwan isn't in NATO either. No, Taiwan's not in NATO. No, basically everybody's, because of China's, stomping their feet and crying, everyone, refuses to have any official relationship with Taiwan. The Inspector General also concluded that the Pentagon chief had the authority to declassify Defense Department information. Kelly said Wednesday that after viewing the watchdog report, it suggests the Defense Secretary didn't break the law. They very clearly stated he should not be using his cell phone and putting this kind of information on a classified system. But they authorized Signal to be used for classified stuff. Eric Schmidt said that he also reviewed the report and dismissed it as a nothing burger. Oh, they got the kid, the Knox, and OHP classes. Yeah. The president authorizes because this dude is a senator. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. So Inspector General reviewed Hegseth's use of the encrypted messaging app about the bombing campaign. So we'll see what goes on with that. We'll have to pay more attention. I mean, I don't know. But and then in other news, next story, we have DHS announces New Orleans is the latest city to get an immigration crackdown. What do you know? Ho, ho, ho. Jim sent you a video. Megyn Kelly interviewed an ex-JAG officer that is a Cornell law professor about the double-tack boat strike. Sent it on X. All right, I'll pull it up in a second. Over a certain rank, POTUS has to approve a recall to active duty. I don't remember if it's 06 or 07. Oh, okay. Well, maybe. Is he a commander or a captain? I've heard it said both ways, that he was a commander and a captain. Commander is an 05. Captain is 06. Yeah. Shipwreck is caused by misfortune. Could one argue that getting a tomahawk to your head is misfortune? Well, I mean, it's kind of misfortunate for them, but it's not what the classification would be for shipwreck. But I mean, to be shipwrecked, the boat has to be sunk. If the boat is still floating, it's not shipwrecked. What's that? Cthulhu Crunch? Captain? Okay, then he's an 06. So yeah, DHS announces the latest crackdown on New Orleans. Well, we got a swamp sweep.
All right, John, well, breaking today, Border Patrol is heading deep into the bayou. Nearly 250 federal agents now surging into southeast Louisiana and parts of Mississippi as part of a major immigration crackdown. Here's Chief Border Patrol Agent Greg Bavino speaking with Fox earlier.
Where will you be next?
Hold on to your hats. That's what I can say there is hold on to your hats. It's going to get real. We're going to continue our march to make this country a safer place, to make mom and pa much safer in their communities, because every community is a border community. So hold on to your hats.
Okay, so let's bring in the Louisiana Republican Governor, Jeff Landry. Governor, welcome to you. So tell us a little bit more about what we are going to see from ICE in Southeast Louisiana.
Well, again, Sandra, you know, we don't talk about specific operations, but we certainly invite Greg Bovino and Madison Sheehan and Secretary Noem and all of President Trump's great team that's trying to make America safe to help make Louisiana safe. Look, New Orleans is a crime-ridden city that we've been trying to keep people safe. It's something that we've been working on since I became governor here in Louisiana. What I don't understand is when fugitive apprehension teams around the country go in and take dangerous criminals off the street, we applaud them. We should be doing the same thing here. Just because someone is committing crimes and is in the country illegally, they get a pass. That's what Democrats are saying. It's ridiculous. I'm welcoming them to come in. We're going to take these dangerous criminals off the streets in Louisiana.
Governor, what was your reaction when you heard New Orleans top cop Ann Kirkpatrick say this? Listen.
They have not talked to National Border Patrol, and that's where you and I are getting our information from, the news reports that they're coming. If they call for help because they think they're going to be hurt, we will be there to help them. We're going to be there to help anyone in danger. But we are not enforcing, because we can't. We couldn't even if we want to.
What is she saying there, and what is your reaction to that?
Yeah, look, I agree with her. She can't. I mean, what people have to remember is that New Orleans has been under an Eric Holder consent decree where a federal judge basically decimated the New Orleans Police Department. It's why I had to bring in a whole new troop, NOLA, to basically get crime under control in New Orleans. But look, here's the thing. That's why we welcome federal assistance. That's why we asked the president to send us National Guard troops down to New Orleans and into Louisiana. We need more boots on the ground in order to get crime under control. And so we welcome our federal partners. We've seen it work in other parts of the state, in New Orleans as well. And we're going to just lean in even heavier to make our streets safe.
Wow. All right. Well, let me say this. So we got Trumpinators here. It says, hello, everyone. Democrats love gotcha games being hypocrites. Oh, they sure do. They sure do. Captain 06. Well, he's a captain for sure, because I heard someone else say Navy commander, because that's all I'm saying. Commander would be an 05. But if he's a captain, yeah. Generally speaking, once you're a captain 06, I think that's certain rules apply. And you heard sharks are testing positive for cocaine in the Gulf. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. They always have. Wow, live and learn, our military. When targeting, make sure you don't have to hit again. The other hits only happen one time. No problem. That's right. Ice, Bayous, Blues Bop. Yep. Send ICE to New Orleans. Well, Border Patrol is going to New Orleans. CBP, the big green machine, is going to New Orleans. Joe says, I think it's a flag officer for POTUS. SecDef is 026. You love his words, but his crooked ties driving me nuts. Just the way they speak with that Louisiana accent, that Bayou accent, whatever it is, Cajun accent, it always drives me nuts. It makes me think like it's whatever. And, yeah, she's an ass. That Kirkpatrick is an ass. Yeah. Holy cow, what is that? That's the police chief. That's who that was. You know, there's a couple dead cats in her apartment. Definitely. Yeah, she can't figure out how to replace the bollards on the street. Yeah, she couldn't. She said, well, we don't know how to do it. I'm going to axe you your ass. That's right. These dumb women all look the same. This is chicken shit political Leo Union rhetoric. Yep. Holy gumbo, Batman. That's a heavy Cajun accent. Yeah, it is. Secretary of Defense, not the president, normally approves the recall of 06 Colonel Captain. There's no Secretary of the Department of War today. The department ended in 1947. No, there is. They changed it back to the Department of War. He's the Secretary of War. I heard an interview where Navy 05 Tuskegee receives little punishment, is knocked to 5. Okay. All right. Gotta love Chat GPT, no Department of War. That's Cajun speak. Yeah, thanks, Joe. I want to thank you. We've been going for an hour now. All right. There's about 100. There was 195 people here, but we're down to about 165 or something now. So I apologize for whatever I said that made the people run away. But anyway, we had about an hour and a half left in the show, unless we hit the goal. We are currently $90 away from adding an extra hour to the show and $40 away from Bellavision. You can donate. There's links pinned in the chat for Cash App and PayPal and Coffee, Ko-Fi. And also, Rumble Rants, YouTube Super Chats, memberships, and gifted memberships are all added together and thrown into the mix to hit the goal. So just keep that in mind. If you like the show and you want it to continue another hour, the goal. And then the way this works is every show, every $100 in total donations that comes in gets an extra hour added to the show. Oh, what's up, Gilly Claw? It's all good, Jim. The Dems don't know the difference between entering the U.S. legally versus illegally. They sure don't. They sure don't, man. They sure don't. Hey, Camelot, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Great to see you. I tried to tell you, Camelot, I had the same. I think it's more rampant than what happened to you. I think is more rampant than people realize. I've noticed several days, if you check your chart on your earnings on YouTube, the chart, your weekly chart thing, I've noticed days that are negative. And I've tried to talk to YouTube about it, and their runaround answers are retarded and don't make any sense. But I think they are back charging people, and they're not telling anybody what they're doing. And I think that's illegal, because I think we should be entitled to I really do. I think we should be entitled to be able to claim any deductions like that. If they're charging us fees, like chargeback fees, that should be deductions from us. Like we should be able to deduct that as a expense, loss. Yeah, YouTube is stocking cash for Q4 for investors. They're up to something. I heard too that Twitch is being sued because they've been running commercials on people's channels and not paying them for the commercials. Big channels like Asmon Gold and other people. So we'll have to watch that. Who knows? I've always suspected YouTube does the same shit. Hey, look at this. Sorry, Jim, I'm long pockets and short arms. Don't worry. Everything is appreciated. Everything is appreciated. And with that, we are now $88. 88. That's a number that could get me in trouble. $88. We're 88. And 38 away. Wow. 88 and 1938. Does anyone know what that means? I'm going to get myself in trouble. Oh, look at that. Terry comes in and says, what's this? Will calls this financial insight is a business owner's right. You would think so, isn't it? Like that if they're doing things and they're deducting money and not telling us what they're deducting the money for, it seems like that. Also heard Megyn Kelly might get catch-22 by being Kelly might get catch-22. Constitution prohibits 2 offices of trust could be forced to resign. One can dream. And then Terry comes in for $2. And that brings us to $86 away. And 36 away from Bellavision. And then, big 50 comes in from Brian Oldenkamp. Thank you so much. And with that means we are $36 away from an extra hour. Oh my God. We got, here. This is good news and bad news. Here's Bellavision. All right. I have to go get her. She's been trapped, but I'm going to go get her right now. So give me 1 second. I have to release her from the clutches of my grandson. She's been trapped tonight. And then rest in peace, Mickey, constant friend and companion. Thank you for the 5. Thank you for the 5. I'm going to go get Bella right now. Bella shrunk. Yeah. Leave him for now. I was going to get her anyway. It's just I was waiting because he got up, so I was going to let him, I was going to let him go to make sure he fell asleep, and then I was going to just let her out of the room. She doesn't like really being in there, because he wallers on her, I guess is the word, and everything. So she doesn't really like that. So give me 1 second here. Let me comment, media asset. So I'll be right back. Oh, sorry. It took longer than I anticipated. Yeah, tell your grandson sorry. Demonetized, then demonized. Yeah, that's what happens. Smothers. Yeah. What's this? U.S. law, Title 10, authority to recall officers reserved, retired list is delegated to Secretary of Defense. Yeah, recall him and give him orders he can refuse. It's good info. Then court martial him. Bella. There she is. Yeah, let me fix the camera. She is definitely. Maybe I should do this. Wrong way. There you go. All right. All righty, let's get back into this. So, the announcement of Operation Cthulhu Crunch. Is it Cthulhu? Like the Cthulhu coming out of the ocean to kill people? Crunch? Comes one day after New York Times reported the Immigration and Customs Enforcement will launch a separate operation targeting Somali illegal immigrants residing in Minnesota's Twin Cities. Wow. Sanctuary policies endanger American communities by releasing illegal alien criminals and forcing DHS law enforcement to risk their lives to remove criminal illegal aliens that should have never been put back in the streets in the first place. You got to stop moving, Bella. You're killing me here, Smalls. Why is it so crooked? Something wrong here. Why is the bed so crooked? Oh, I know why. It's pushed way too far over. Louisiana state dog. Oh, is that the Louisiana state dog? That's what that is? A Catahoula? Sanctuary policies endanger American communities by releasing. Yeah, we saw that. And then DHS spokesman said. It's asinine that these monsters are released back onto the streets to commit more crimes and create more victims. Catahoula Crunch includes targets whose violent criminals were released after arrest for home invasion, armed robbery, grand theft auto, rape. President Trump and Secretary Noem are restoring law and order for the American people. One of these announcements was accompanied by a roster of 10 illegal migrants released from local jails. Oh, why is that? Okay. After their arrest for crimes including aggravated assault, burglary, child endangerment, and sexual battery, the alleged offenders hail from countries including El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Jordan, Mexico, and Vietnam. CBS News first reported on the plans for a New Orleans operation in mid-November and said that around 200 Border Patrol agents would carry out the sweep. Yeah, well, I mean, they don't need ICE. That Border Patrol would be perfect because it's Louisiana's the border. There's a border right there, so that's Border Patrol. The ocean is a border. During a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Trump announced that the Crescent City will soon receive an influx of National Guard troops to help keep order following a request by Louisiana's Republican governor, Jeff Landry. Governor Landry, a great guy, great governor, he asked for help in New Orleans, and we're going to go there in a couple of weeks, Trump told reporters. Landry, who requested up to 1,000 troops to fight crime in September, told reporters Monday he expected the Guard members to arrive in New Orleans by Christmas. That would mean a visible troop presence during the city's busiest periods for tourism, which includes the annual Sugar Bowl college football game on New Year's Day and culminates in Mardi Gras celebrations ending February 17th. January 1st will mark the anniversary of an ISIS-inspired truck attack by Shamsuddin Jabbar. Oh, I wonder if he's related with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that killed 14 people and wounded 57 others on the city's iconic Bourbon Street as New Year's Eve celebrations were winding down. In 2022, New Orleans had the dubious distinction of being considered the murder capital of the country, with a homicide rate of 70 per 100,000. Wow, that's crazy. 3 years later, however, the city is still on pace to have its lowest number of murders in nearly 50 years, according to crime data from the police department, which have reported 97 murders as early as November. See, I always wonder about that because we know they skew the numbers, that they play with the numbers. So we know they do that. So it makes you wonder what they're up to. Jafar, he's related to the villain in Aladdin. Okay, all right. Yeah. Or was that Jafar? I think that was Jafar. Okay. All right. And this says ICE's Operation Catahoula Crunch sweeps New Orleans. Let's see. Is she talking about this? Or is she talking about
to turn over those little city, but in this case, it's leadership. Charlotte's a beautiful city, but in this case, its leadership has absolutely failed it. We know that there is more than 1,400 criminal illegal aliens who are in their jails, and they refuse to turn over those individuals to ICE law enforcement, which really, that means a revolving door of justice, and these criminal illegal aliens will go back onto Charlotte's streets to re-perpetuate their crimes. We're talking about serial child pedophiles, murderers, rapists, gang members, people who pose real public security threats to the American people. And so, of course, we are surging resources there, and we won't stop until Charlotte is safer.
Oh. Immigration Customs Enforcement launched a new operation that's surging to New Orleans, aimed at locating and arresting criminal non-citizens who were released from local custody despite federal detainer requests. Like, why are they not holding them? Sanctuary policies endanger American communities by releasing illegal alien criminals and forcing DHS to risk their lives to go get them. Crime in New Orleans is bad. Sorry, but can't stand that woman's voice. She's got her voice is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not good. It's got like an annoying, like, screech to it kind of thing. There we go. That's better. That's more better. That's more betterer now. I feel betterer. So that's going on there. Let me close some tabs real quick. this story, all it will take is for Democrats to get back in for one term to destroy the U.S. It's grating. Yeah, it's gravelly. Yeah, I wonder if she smokes. So the Trump administration targets, I don't know why Fox does this, man. The Trump administration targets anti-Christian violence with new visa crackdown policy following Nigerian attacks. Terry says, thank you for ever gifting me the membership. I really appreciate it. I don't remember who it was, Terry. I think it was several days ago.
24 schoolgirls abducted by armed groups in Nigeria last week are now free. Nigeria has seen a series of similar kidnappings in recent days, including at a Catholic school where 250 students remain unaccounted for. William Lajeunesse is following this story. He is in our London bureau with more. William, to you.
Hey, Molly. Crime, extortion, kidnappings, all too common in Nigeria, which is Africa's largest country, receives around $900 million a year in U.S. aid. But as you mentioned, there's been a series of kidnappings in just the last 2 weeks. And in fact, the video you're seeing here, just released in the last few hours, is the exception. All the girls rescued. Here's what happened. Last Monday, armed gunmen stormed the government-run girls' boarding school, killing a staff member, abducting 25 students. One escaped at the time. Then yesterday, Nigeria's president said he did not release any details, but they say the girls had been rescued. Others claim, that, including the bandits, that they were actually released unharmed after negotiations. Now, just 4 days after that incident, hundreds of miles away, gunmen abducted 300 students, 15 teachers at St. Mary's boarding school. 50 escaped, leaving, as you mentioned, about 250 still in captivity. Then there was a third incident last week. Gunmen attacked a church, killing at least 2, abducting 38 parishioners who, again, remain in captivity. These incidents have strained relations with the U.S., with President Trump threatening military intervention to stop what some call Christian genocide.
Christian genocide. What do you know?
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns are blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities.
So in the last decade, about 1,500 students have been abducted. Some have been Christian, others not. But Boko Haram, as the president is referring
Boko
to,
Haram
has targeted churches and persecuted parishioners. Molly?
Yeah, and now the eye of the president, and really the eye of the world, more on Nigeria as these stories continue to come out. William Lajeunesse, thank you for highlighting this. Appreciate it.
Wow. That's interesting, right? Let's do this. Got to come through the chat real quick. We got this. Rebecca says, Jim, I like your sense of humor. You make me laugh. Well, that's what I try. I hope to, inform a little bit, get a little information out, let people know some stuff that's going on in the news they might not have heard about, and make some people laugh. Because if you can't laugh, you're going to cry. Boko Haram, definitely. How many of those poor girls were made temporary wives? What's their name? I think this is in reference to when the Obama administration was in and all those girls were kidnapped, and Michelle Obama held up the sign, says, bring our girls back, or something about say their names or something, right? Or what was it? Yes. Pat says, Rebecca, that's why we love them. And Bella's a big draw, too. Well, Bella's a draw, and she's big. Yeah, well. Hey, Mr. K, what's up? Great to see you. Iowa Backyard says, late, liked, listening. Current temp, -3. Feels like -19. Can't wait for the cold temps tomorrow. Wow, I hope you're staying warm. Just try and stay warm. Hey, and Audra comes in and says, I got a couple for $2. Wow, that's awesome. That brings us to $29 away from the first additional hour of the show. The dormitory looks like long abandoned, but quick, send money for ransoms. Yeah. Long live the king. Molly Nice for a 48-year-old. Pope Leo kissing up to the Muslim. Yeah, that's brutal. I don't know what's wrong with these popes. We need a pope like, what was his name? Pope, damn it, I can't think of his name right now. I'm blanking on his name. The Pope that declared the crusade. Pope Clement? I think it's Pope Clement the First or something that declared the crusades. That's what we need. That's very cold. Wait, what's up? Hey, SB Farmer, great to see you. Yes. And then Pope John. No, well, Pope John Paul, or no, the one that's, I'm talking about the Pope that declared wasn't it Pope Clement that declared the 7 below? Here, we got that beat 7 below here. I'm talking about declared the First Crusade. The Trump administration is rolling out a new visa restriction policy in response to a wave of brutal anti-Christian attacks in Nigeria, targeting those accused of orchestrating religious violence against Christians in West African nation and around the world. Oh, that's so sad you had to send Rosie over the Rainbow Bridge. That's terrible. I don't know. I can't even. And Pope Constantine declared everyone Christian. Yeah, Florida is freezing here too. It's 60 degrees where I am. It's nuts. Yeah, this is crazy. I had to put on pants. Secretary Rubio announced Wednesday that a new policy in Immigration Nationality Act will allow the State Department to deny visas to those who have directed, authorized, significantly supported, participated in, or carried out violations of religious freedom. Immediate family members may also face visa restrictions in some cases. Oh, hey, Kelly 51, thank you. With that $4.99, which we call $5, that means we are now just $24 away from an extra hour, for the first extra hour of the show. Yes, thanks, Kelly. Conquered by the Holy Spirit. The United States is taking decisive action in response to the mass killing and violence against Christians by radical Islamic terrorists, Fulani ethnic militias, and other violent actors in Nigeria and beyond. The move follows a surge of attacks on Christians and Christian institutions in Nigeria. Last month, gunmen stormed the Christ Apostolic Church in Aruku, Kara State, killing 2 people and kidnapping dozens. The 38 abducted worshippers were freed nearly a week later. Trump's warning to Nigerian officials hope the nation's persecuted Christians. Days later, armed attackers raided St. Mary's School in Niger State, abducting more than 300 students and staff. School officials say 50 students aged 10 to 18 escaped in the following days, but 253 students and 12 teachers remain captive. Joe says, Jim, let's not go crazy. I'm still wearing shorts. She got sick. We found out she had a tumor. The kindest thing for her was to let her go, but it broke our hearts. There's something going on. I don't know if I'm really starting to think that there's something strange going on with dogs and tumors. My nephew had a dog that was like 1 year old and had like a tumor. It was started having all these problems. They had to put it down. Like a year-old dog with tumors. It's crazy. Like I wonder if there's something in the food. I mean, I know that they're poisoning us with our food. Are they poisoning the dogs? It's probably worse for pet foods that they're poisoning them worse. Yeah, watch out for falling iguanas. That you're only going to get falling iguanas when it gets below like 40. It's got to get below 40. Yeah, iguanas freeze to death. It's weird. Yeah, if it gets below 40. I'm sorry, Audra. Vaccines, yeah. The violence prompted President Trump to designate Nigeria a country of particular concern, though the Nigerian government disputes the U.S. assessment. I'm really angry about it, President told Fox News Radio. What's happening in Nigeria is a disgrace. Echoing Trump's warning, Rubio said, as President Trump made clear, the United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. AP just says the U.S. will restrict visas for Nigerians and their families involved in violence against Christians. Like, why would we let anyone who's committing violence against anyone come into our country? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't care who it is. If they're committing violence, like criminals or anything, why would we give them visas to come here? Don't you have sway with you and the Pope have the same hometown? No. I don't have any sway with communists. All our animals will be in heaven when we get there. Yeah. All dogs go to heaven. Yeah. So we'll just look real quick. They're going to restrict visas for them and their families. So yeah. Okay. We got this story, which I don't know, which is Breaking, President Trump has granted pardons to Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda. It's not cellular or Celler or whatever Joe said. It's Cuellar. Henry Cuellar. He's Hispanic. For years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents, and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after highly respected Congressman Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against the open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after Congressman and even the Congressman's wonderful wife, Imelda, simply for speaking the truth. It is un-American, and as I previously stated, the radical left Democrats are a complete and total threat to democracy. They will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far-left agenda. An agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Imelda. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over. Rudd says, towards the goal, never ever vote blue. Thank you, Rudd. And with that, we are now just $14 away. Just $14 away from the first additional hour of the show. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, like they went after Cuellar because he spoke out about it. They went after the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, because he spoke out about it. Anybody who criticized what they were doing with the border stuff, they went after and tried to arrest and throw in jail. I mean, how are they going to say that wasn't political targeting? You know, America. Yes. Thank you so much, Rudd. So, in a stunning development, President Trump issues a full and unconditional pardon to Texas Democrat Rep. Henry Cuellar. He issued a full and complete unconditional pardon to Representative Cuellar and his wife Imelda. Cuellar and his wife are facing a maximum of 204 years in prison after the Biden DOJ indicted them on federal bribery and money laundering charges last year. The Biden DOJ charged Cuellar, a 9-term Democrat Texas lawmaker who represents an area along the U.S.-Mexico border, after he lashed out at both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for allowing illegals to pour over the border. Trump ripped Biden's weaponized DOJ as he announced the pardon of Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda. For years, the Biden, we read all this already. It's un-American. I previously stated radical are a complete and total threat to democracy. Yes, we saw that. Okay, so we read that. Biden just indicted Henry Cuellar because this is what Trump tweeted when it happened. Rudd says, I'm ready for an extra hour. Let's go. Jim Somniacs. Hey, Lady Obama's here, too. What's up? Great to see you. I made it. How's everyone doing? Yeah. So he said he won't play crooked Joe Biden's open border game. He was for border control, so they said, let's use the FBI and DOJ to take him out. This is the way they operate. They're a bunch of D.C. thugs. And at some point, they'll be paying a very big price for what they have done to our country. Crooked Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. Cuellar thanked President Trump. I want to thank President Trump for his tremendous leadership and for taking the time to look at the facts. I thank God for standing with my family and I during this difficult time. This decision clears the air and lets us move forward for South Texas. Steve Wilkie says, Jim, you do a really good job of reporting the whole story. Thanks. I try. I report things that, I try to report everything. Try to be. Bella is dreaming. Yeah, I think she's having a dream. The pardon gives a clean slate. The noise is gone and the work remains, and I intend to meet it head on. Thank you, President Trump. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Cuellar was one of those, I'd call him a conservative Democrat per se, like not really, like a moderate Democrat, whatever you want to call it. Like last year, Cuellar and his wife Imelda were indicted by a federal grand jury on federal bribery and money laundering charges. An indictment was unsealed today in the Southern District of Texas, charging U.S. Representative Enrico Roberto Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda, both of Laredo, Texas, with participating in 2 schemes involving bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering. Cuellar and Imelda made their initial court appearance before U.S. Magistrate Judge Dina Palermo in Houston. Biden's DOJ announced in May of 2024. Like a blue dog Democrat? There's really not any blue dog Democrats anymore. But, I mean, he's like one where he was like, he was for border control. One of the few Democrats for border control. Like, I'm surprised they haven't gone after, like, that. Put it this way. If I'm surprised they didn't go after John Fetterman because he was, bucking them A lot of stuff. Bucking with a B, not F. B. According to court documents beginning in at least December 2014 and continuing through at least November 2021, Congressman Cuellar and Imelda allegedly accepted $600,000 in bribes from two foreign entities, an oil and gas company wholly owned and controlled by the government of Azerbaijan and a bank headquartered in Mexico. The bribe payments were allegedly laundered pursuant to sham consulting contracts through a series of front companies and middlemen into shell companies owned by Imelda Cuellar, who performed little to no legitimate work under the contracts. How much money did Hunter Biden get paid again? How many millions of dollars with 10% for? I mean, he probably did this. Don't get me wrong. Oh, you think he wasn't pushed when he fell? Maybe they did go after him. You could be right. Biden going after people for taking gas money? Yeah. Yeah. No Democrats. Sorry, too close to communists. No, I'm not saying to vote for this guy or anything like that. I'm just saying this was a guy who actually, I think he did vote to impeach Trump too. So he's not like a great guy. It's just like what I'm saying is he spoke out against anyone who spoke out against the Biden border shit. They went after Eric Adams, him. There was another one too. I can't remember his name that they went after. They can't control Uncle Fester. Yes. I suspect funny stuff. Haven't heard much of him since. Cuellar was raided by the FBI and subpoenaed in 2022, shortly after he blasted the Biden regime. Feds began issuing a flurry of subpoenas seeking records related to Henry Cuellar's wife and campaign staffers. More than 24 agents descended on his Laredo, Texas home in early 2022. FBI still present at the home of Henry Cuellar in Laredo. Wow. Hey, what's up? How you doing? You talking to me? You talking to me, Roquefort Cobb? I just started. I'm not even, it's only been going an hour and a half. Damn, G, what's up? Young Frankenstein? Yeah. Fetterman will get no DC support at election time. Well, that's dumb if he gets no support at election time. Because And then Trump pardons Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar, who was indicted after criticizing Biden's open border. Okay. I want to read this story. Democrat Rep. Jayapal pushes bill to tangle ICE and red tape. Fetterman was making the rounds on TV today, face completely healed. Okay, I'm still up, I guess. This guy, she wants a bill that basically says that ICE is not allowed to arrest anybody anymore. They're not allowed to detain anybody for being illegal. Jayapal introduced legislation that would severely limit the DHS's ability to enforce immigration laws. That's right. They're just like, no, you can't enforce immigration laws anymore. That's what Democrats, you can't enforce immigration laws. In a press release, it was revealed an Indian-born immigrant. Oh, another Indian-born immigrant. Oh, and Rep. Adam Smith had introduced the Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act. Repeal mandatory detention, prohibit the detention of families and children, create a presumption of release, and impose a higher burden of proof. So what they want is the same thing they did with the no bail shit in their states, where they're letting murderers and stuff back out on the street and rapists, just let them go. They want the same thing for illegals. Like, no jails. They want to abolish prisons. That's what they want. They want no jails. No jails at all. What's it say? Whistling Peehole says, well, rewatching Breitbart articles wouldn't make you Mockingbird Meta at all. Well, reading Breitbart articles. Oh, okay. Well, Jim got the drugs I want. The NAACP. He can get good plastic surgeons. Macabre the slob. Whatever that means. They want to create a presumption of release upon and impose a higher burden on proof to detain primary caregivers and vulnerable populations, including pregnant women, survivors of torture or gender-based violence, people with serious... Holy shit, man. They just don't want anybody detained. Phase out the use of private detention facilities and jails over a 3-year period. Yeah, Whistling Peehole says, the end game is robot police. I saw that. Elon Musk said that he can get rid of prisons and just assign every criminal their own robot. That way, if they try to break the law, the robot can just grab them and stop them, I guess. I don't know. That would be kind of insane. Why do you want criminals locked up, Jim? You're a heartless and against brown people. I guess. Well, hey, Joe. Hello, Joe. According to all the documents we've been showing almost nightly on this show, they're not deporting brown people. All these people arrested for crimes that are getting deported are all listed as white on the paperwork. So, checkmate, Democrats. Yes, they want gulags, not prisons. Learn to read between the lines. How many pages in this bill? Who knows? Robot police incoming. Gamer kid without close monitoring. Post-millennial. Cult uses Discord and Roblox to target children and force them to create porn. Oh, good God. 90% are white. My bad. Yeah, see, 90% are white that they're deporting. So, according to the documents. I didn't put it down. They did. I support ending the detention. Just deport them. Yeah, that's what they should do. No detention, just automatic deportation. You catch them and you just put them on a plane and ship them out. Like rapid deportation. Nice checkmate. I'm going to use that. I mean, I showed the paperwork. They're listed as white. So you can't say they're targeting brown people when it says white on the fucking paperwork. Maybe don't put white on the paperwork if you want to say that. Who is okay with crime? I have my buddy come over. Choose wisely. Yeah, or light-skinned Hispanics. Require DHS to establish civil detention standards that provide, at a minimum, a level of protection in American Bar Association's, oh my God, civil immigration detention standards. So American Bar Association came up with some standards that they have no authority to enforce or no authority over. Mandate the DHS Inspector General to conduct unannounced inspections. Require DHS to admit members of Congress to detention facilities for unannounced inspections. They already do. They just have to. They can't just open the doors and let you in. They got to make sure it's safe. Our Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act has a remarkable, unprecedented 123 co-sponsors. All Democrats co-signed it. Before we've even introduced it, 123 co-sponsors, and overhauls the detention system. It drastically scales back the use of detention and ensures that every single immigrant who's in detention has their human and civil rights protected. Even with listing all the non-blacks on paperwork as white, blacks still commit most of the crime law. Yeah, well, that's how the only way they could get it close, though, whistling pee holes. They have to do that to make it look close. Like, well, look, it's this here, They go, well, look at the percentages. When you talk about, like, per capita, holy fuck. You see people's eyes glaze over and they act like they don't know what you're talking about when you start talking about what per capita. Oh, yeah, that's right. Races don't count for white people. They only count for minorities. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're brown when they want to say they're being racially targeted, but they're white when they're listing them on the fucking arrest reports. Maybe I can flip the camera again. See her better. There we go. I can make it bigger. I spend most of my time on the show, as you notice, adjusting the camera because Bella moves around so much instead of just laying there. I really got to get one of those Hassan shock collars, and anytime she moves, just shock her, right? Yeah, shouldn't they be fixing healthcare? They should be doing something. Yeah, fuckers had games my kids didn't have because I couldn't afford them. Yeah, it's all a game. Brown, white privilege. Yeah, don't detain. Just ship them right out. Bye bye. Yeah. As Viva says, who white? I don't know. Do we want to hear her talk? Do we want to hear this lady talk? I don't know. We'll give it a second and then I'll see.
Today to say enough. Our Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act has a remarkable, unprecedented 123 original.
Oh, fuck off. John Binder reported in September that Jayapal, who serves as a ranking member on the Subcommittee on Immigration Integrity, Security, and Enforcement, has described Immigration and Customs Enforcement as a terrorist force on several occasions. So she's calling these people terrorists. So she's biased. So I would, they are in talks regarding Trump Care, where the people instead of insurance companies get the money. Oh. What did I do? Thanks, Jim. Are you talking to me or are you talking to someone else? Hacker. Wait. Man, I lose stuff. Red says, thank you. For what? What am I getting thanks for? Oh, for stopping her talking. Okay, all right, I get it now. What's it say? We used to charter Sun Country to fly them. They wanted to tear up the seats. They're not sending their best, I heard somewhere. You'll do a confrontation with them? Shut her down for us? Yeah, I'm not listening anymore. So, on Wednesday morning, a gunman killed one ICE detainee and injured several others after opening fire on ICE's Dallas facility. He had an anti-ICE ideological motive. In July, Jay Appel, an influential member of Congress, called ICE a terrorist force, to which the White House responded by calling her a deranged leftist. It says, Trump will give the money to insurance companies, art of the deal. We shouldn't even have insurance companies. We really shouldn't. We should just have like a minimal system. People get paid, the doctors, and whatever it is, and then it used to be you just pay them, and then if there was some kind of a catastrophic thing, like the community would pick it up, type of stuff. Like you belong to like the Elks Club, Elks Lodge, or the Order of the Eagles, or the Shriners and stuff, and they would have their own lodge doctors that would take care of everything, and you paid like a monthly fee to be, and that was it. And you saw the doctor. It wasn't no insurance. Insurance is a scam. In response, JPL doubled down on her accusation, again calling ICE a terrorist force in a fundraising email and taking to CNN to accuse ICE agents of kidnapping, among other crimes. Major medical only. We used to have credit unions. There's still credit unions, but they're not really credit unions anymore. They're just small banks that call themselves credit unions, but they're not really, like, you don't have to do anything to be a member of them. During an interview with CNN, Jay Appel also stated that Trump administration needs to apologize to U.S. citizens that have been rounded up, to legal permanent residents, and to people with legal statuses who are getting swept up. Isn't GoFundMe the insurance company? I don't know. I don't know. Used to have one doctor did it all. Now we got one specialist after another. Well, that's because the reason we have all these specialists is because the insurance companies pay more for specialists. So they can charge more, as opposed to like your regular doctor you go to. I challenge anyone that's older than, in their 40s or 50s to go look at, if you have any of your old papers from say 20 years ago, at what doctor's offices charged, like doctor's offices charged for visits, if you had insurance at the time, what the insurance paid the doctor, what you paid, and then look now at what the insurance company is paying for your just regular checkup for a doctor's office, for a doctor's visit. They're paying the doctors less now for that doctor's visit than they were 20 years ago. Doctor's office is getting less now than they were 20 years ago. You're paying more now to the doctor. The insurance company's paying less. And the doctor's getting roughly the same thing. The doctor, for an office visit to a doctor's office, they get roughly about $75 when you go in. That's about what they got about 20 years ago, $50 to $75 for an office visit, roughly around that. And they have wildly more staff they have to pay now. The whole thing with Obamacare was just a thing that made so that they had to hire a bunch of staff to comply with Obamacare. Yeah. No insurance. The bill might be $5K, with insurance $50K. Yeah. But then the insurance actually doesn't pay the $50K. They pay around $5K or whatever. They pay less. They have a negotiated thing. But then I think the doctor's office and them, like everybody's in on it. They get to write it off. You know what I mean? Like write it off and say something. I was born in 1951. High-risk presidency cost $75. Wow. But I don't know. Obamacare fucked everything all up. Yeah, it's all a scam. Yeah, it is. Chrissy Nolan previously announced the Trump administration is breaking records with more than 527,000 illegal aliens being deported. McLaughlin also stated that the administration was on track to shatter historic records and deport nearly 600,000 illegal aliens by the end of Trump's first year in office. See, that's what I'm going to call bullshit. That's not true. Eisenhower deported over 600,000 illegal aliens in 3 months. Operation Wetback. Go look it up. I didn't make up the name. That's not my name. They named it Operation Wetback. Go look it up. He used the military. He rounded them up and got them out of the country in 3 months. It's true, Jim. That's when they shuffle you in and out as fast as they can. They make up in quantity instead of quality. Yeah. You go to the doctor's office now. You sit there for an hour waiting to see the doctor, and then you're in there less than 5 minutes. In and out. Doctor comes in 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I have MS and a heart issue, so I have a neurologist and a cardiologist and a basket of meds. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you are doing okay, that it's not impacting your life too badly. You could take a man out of the army, but not the army out of the man. You ain't in the club. Yeah. Up in the club. What is on with it? Up in the club. I think it was that an ER visit only cost him $20. I don't know if it was him or his wife. Ian. Oh. House calls and codeine and cough syrup. Yeah, those were the days. Steve Hiller, 0 for me. Carmelo Anthony's dad was supposedly going to work for Charleston White. Guess that fell through. Oh, okay. On one side lets in 20 million, the next guy deports 2 million. Federal Reserve still happy. Yeah. No, we need to deport the whole 20 million. They all need to go. Just took my mom to a concierge doctor, $3,000 a year, but we got in the next day, and she spends 3 hours going over everything with her. Thank God there is an option to pay for better health care. Yeah. Well, that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's what's going to happen if the federal government in the U.S. takes over all the healthcare and they do this, single payer system or whatever and get rid of it. Basically, you're going to have that healthcare, and then you're going to have rich people that can pay a doctor, a concierge doctor. They're going to have like a certain number of people, and that's it. And that's the only amount of people they see, and they pay them a yearly fee to see the doctor. Won't happen without a national socialist movement. Well, there is a national socialist movement. It's called the Democrat Party. I don't know if you've noticed. Bernie Sanders, AOC, the mayor of Seattle, the mayor of Portland, the governor of Oregon, the mayor of what else was it? Philadelphia or Minneapolis. Several mayors all over. Rockford says Charleston White's cool as fuck. It's my opinion. I think he's got some good points. Ugly things would have to happen to deport them all. You can't make an omelet unless you break a few eggs, man. Mandami, New York City. Yeah. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So we're not going to be able to deport them all. Some of you may suffer, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. That's Lord Farquaad. This story, I saw this story and I thought, man, this is an important story to talk about. Ukraine hits pipeline sending Russian oil to Hungary and Slovakia. Okay. They're not supposed to be hitting infrastructure that feeds other countries. Like, it's wintertime. All right. The oil going to Hungary and Slovakia is needed to heat houses and keep them from all freezing to death. This is insane. They purposefully targeted this pipeline on numerous occasions. Ukraine has hit the Dozhba oil pipeline in Russia's central Tambov region, a source in Ukraine's GUR military intelligence said on Wednesday. It was the 5th Ukrainian attack on the pipeline, which supplies Russian oil to Hungary and Slovakia, according to Reuters calculations. Yeah. This is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt than it will you. It's going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Yeah. Ukraine doesn't give a shit. Yeah, no. They are basically endangering the lives of millions of people in Hungary and Slovakia, people that they're supposedly allied with. Hungary and Slovakia continue to buy energy supplies from Russia even after the European Union nations cut ties following the invasion. So because they're continuing to buy oil from Russia, they just think they're going to hit the pipeline that supplies their oil? I mean, we know for a fact that Ukraine bombed that other pipeline, remember? They tried to blame it on Russia, the Nord Stream pipeline. And then they arrested the people for doing it. And then they said, oh, there's a war going on. You can't arrest them. That was an act of war, and it's an active war, and you can't call it a crime. Ukrainian media said remote control explosives were used in the attack. Kind of like the remote control explosives they used on the Nord Stream pipeline. Huh. What do you know? What do you say? Are Hungary and Slovakia NATO countries? I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, yeah, Hungary and Slovakia are both members of NATO. They joined the alliance in 1999 and 2004. So, yes, they are both members of NATO. What do you know? They are both members of NATO. Yeah, they are both in NATO. So, so Ukraine is attacking assets of our NATO countries. So that's an act of war. They could actually, if they, they could actually say that it's invoke Article 5 of the NATO treaty and say that it was an attack on them. They say attack the pipeline that they need to keep people from dying in their country. Yeah, remember, Hungary slipped on Greece and ate Turkey. Yeah. I don't know if Ukraine did it. That pipeline was pretty deep. Seems like a more advanced country to either U.S. or U.K. Oh, no, it was Ukraine. They know it was Ukraine. They arrested the people, the Ukrainians. They probably had help. The Ukrainians probably had help from someone else, but they arrested the Ukrainians. They had them in jail in Italy. And the Italian, basically, government let them go, said, oh, you can't arrest them because it's war. And so what they did, the acts that they did was an act of war against, so you can't do anything to them. Italy didn't honor the Interpol warrant from Germany. Yeah, and therefore every NATO country must become involved. Yeah. Ukraine wants to join NATO but commits act of war on NATO? Yeah, right? Ukraine attacked the pipeline once in March, twice in August, and once in September this year. Kiev said the strikes are on energy targets in response to Russia's continued attacks on Ukraine aimed to undermine Moscow's overall war effort. But that's attacking stuff that's keeping the people in NATO countries alive. That's odd. Huh. And I wanted to get this from a good source, so I came here. All right. Look, this is so we're going to translate this from Polish for everybody, all right? Because this is from Poland, so this is where we get the real facts from the ground. Ukrainians were to attack the Friendship Pipeline again. It supplies oil to Hungary and Slovakia. So it's a friendship pipeline. So Ukraine doesn't want to be friends with anybody. Ukrainians damaged a part of the Przakin pipeline, which supplies crude oil from Russia to Hungary and Slovakia. The explosion occurred on a section located in the Tambov Oblast, reported Interfax, which refers to sources in Ukrainian intelligence. Now the Russians will have another empty pipeline to invade through. On Wednesday, the Interfax agency announced that an explosion had occurred in part of the Friendship oil pipeline. The attack was to be carried out near the town of Kuznetsny Vizgalegi in the Tambov Oblast in western Russia. The explosion was supposed to take place on a section of this main line between Tangarak and Lipstik, and the agency cited information from its sources in the GUR military intelligence. RCB Ukraine also reported similar reports. Bzhazh's pipeline, it supplies crude oil from Russia to Hungary and Slovakia. It was all based on friendship. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Critter Center? Great to see you. Yeah. Seems like a way to sabotage the peace talks. Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it? Oh, Hungary and Slovakia are blocking Ukrainian entrance into the EU. Oh, okay, so that's why they did it. So it is an act of war against them. They should invoke Article 5. That would be fucking hysterical. No, I'm invoking Article 5 against Ukraine. So now NATO has to attack Ukraine. How do you like them apples? That's a giggle I would laugh all the way to the bank on. Reuters calculated it's the fifth attack carried out by Ukrainians on the Friendship Pipeline. This time they're supposed to cause an explosion of remotely detonated explosives. The Slovak pipeline operator, an Hungarian oil and gas company, announced that despite everything, the supply of oil in the Zvezda, they run normally. An Interfax agent informant related to Ukrainian intelligence said the Russian oil infrastructure will explode and burn until Moscow gives up their attacks on Ukraine. Yeah, the EU hates Orban. Yeah, and then Russia can join NATO. Yeah, that would be funny. Russia tried to join NATO. After 9/11. Putin went to Bush and said, listen, we should be friends and stuff with the Islamists and the terrorists. We should work together and let us join NATO. There's no reason for this. We should be friends. And Bush was too much of a pussy, or maybe it was probably Cheney that said, no. Listen. Listen. If Russia's with us, then we have no big bad that we need to build all these weapons for and do all this stuff. On Wednesday, information about the drone attack that was supposed to lead to the outbreak of fire in the Russian media also appeared in the petroleum composition in the Tambov Oblast. Local authorities said there was no casualties. The governor of neighboring Vynorsk Oblast announced on social media the drones, they damaged fuel storage tanks in the area. 4 unmanned aerial vehicles were detected and destroyed in the air over Voronezh and the twin areas of Oblast. There were no casualties. Several tanks, fuels, it suffered minor damage. Oh, collusion says, wow, Putin sounds like a great guy. I didn't say Putin sounds like a great guy. That's not what I said. Someone said, oh, and then Russia joins NATO. And all I said was Russia tried to join NATO after 9/11. I didn't say anything about Putin being a good guy or bad guy at all. Made no comment on Putin whatsoever. Oh, Brian Oldenkamp comes in hard with 5 gifted memberships. And with those 5, well, first let's do this. And then Mega Tasman received a gift of membership. Jenna, RL4CU, received a gift of membership. Randy Pierce, 5887, received a gift of membership. Granola Grin received a gifted membership. And Audra received a gifted membership from Brian Oldenkamp. Thank you, Brian, for all you do for this channel. And with that, folks.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Thank you so much, Brian Oldenkamp, for the 5 gifted memberships. And with that, folks, that means that we are, hide this second additional hour. Means we are, wait a minute, 16. $84 away from a second additional hour. I don't know why I was getting confused there. So we're $84 away from a second additional hour. You don't have to praise Russia. I am happy for you to do it. I don't hate the Russians, personally. I think Ukraine is a corrupt country. It's always been corrupt. It's always going to be corrupt until it gets fixed or whatever. But Russia's Russia. Russia was our ally in World War I and World War II. And for some reason, just because, whatever. Now we're still fighting this Cold War against them, which doesn't make any sense. They're not going to reconquer and reclaim the Soviet Union. That's retarded. To anyone who says that, you should just write off as retarded. We have more in common with Russian people as Americans, as Western society, let's say Americans, anybody really. Any Western society has more in common with the Russians than they do with anyone from Africa or the Middle East or China, or there's more common bonds and things there. That's all I'll say. Hey, what's up, E. Dungarian? Great to see you. Hope all's doing well. Brian Olenkamp is our hero. He is. Yeah. And then Trumpinator says, I like Putin better than Zelensky. Well, yeah. See, Wilkie says, I'm a Russophile. Russian literature and music are fantastic. Yeah, way more in common. So several tanks exploded and all this stuff. So yeah, so that's the story. So they're attacking NATO allies now. Ukraine is attacking NATO allies. Wow. I can't believe it happened. Okay. And we got this story from the Blaze. From the Blaze. Yeah, yes. Americans and Russians also have a certain rustic frontier spirit that other cultures haven't retained in the modern day. Yeah. Yeah. Tim Morrison says the globalists would fail if U.S. and Russia joined forces, economy, and power. It says Russia is majority Christian, NATO is majority Muslim, just saying. Shouldn't be that way, though. Russia has the same population bomb as the West. They're also on China's century of shame hit list, just like us. Biden administration and stuck in the Cold War. Mud warriors ruined it. Yeah, I mean, the Russians have to know that China has been eyeing the northern resource area for 50 years now. They want Siberia. They want the gold. They want the oil. They want the diamonds. They want all the stuff that is in Siberia. They want that land. They're going to try and claim it from Russia at some point. There's a great book about it. You might want to read sometime if you ever have a free couple days to sit down and read an actual book called The Bear and the Dragon by Tom Clancy. I mean, considering, most of his other books were kind of spot on stuff that happened. He did write in a book about people taking planes and trying to crash them into the Pentagon and Capitol Hill and all that stuff. So, got that right. Some other stuff. The chips are stacked in favor of China. Yeah, right now, because people are refusing to take action that would cut them off. Asia, except for Japan. Japan is more based than us now. Yeah, Japan is. It's sad to see. Jim, you have a lot of smart members. I know. I think, what's it say? I think of a trilateral alliance of our three superpowers would be greatly beneficial for the planet. Sure, definitely. Saw over a decade ago Russians bitching about Chi-Com illegals taking over Lake Baikal area. Yeah. We don't need to join with Russia, but doing business with them is favorable. Yeah, no, I'm not saying we need to join with them, but we should have just an understanding that there shouldn't be a war between the U.S. and Russia. There's absolutely zero reason for it. DHS to increase operations in the Twin Cities as Somali fraud becomes unignorable. Unignorable. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't it be great if the three greatest powers on earth all allied into one big, beautiful government? So like a one world government? No, that wouldn't be good. The Trump administration has increased its attention on Minnesota and investigations into Somali fraud schemes. As deportation operations continue to clean up sanctuary cities across the country, the Department of Homeland Security is focused on another hub of problematic immigration, Minneapolis-St. Paul. The Washington Examiner reported that Tom Homan, the Trump administration's border czar, hinted at an immigration enforcement surge there as soon as this week. Don't let Jim's rugged facade fool you. He is quite cultured. Exactly. Russia is not the enemy. Focus is on the Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities that they've been going on there. Well, that's what they say. That's what they say. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, no one world order business, just a strong three-headed economic alliance that's thwarted by meddling Europeans. Okay. Yeah, if Putin was nuts, we'd all be dead. Are they really twins? I don't know. In a Fox News appearance on Tuesday, Holman suggests that plans were already in the works to increase resources in the Twin Cities in particular. I can tell you the focus is... Why does it keep doing that? I can tell you the focus is there. I'm coming, but I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people are going to be on the ground and how many people are going to be on the ground. I can't tell you how many people are going to be on the ground now, or I can't tell you how many people are on the ground now and how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities that have been uncovered by DOJ, DHS, said in the Holman interview. Oh yeah, a Minnesota KSTP reporter defended the Somalians, saying they bring in $67 million in taxes, but forgot to mention the $1 billion stolen. Yeah, it's crazy, right? California's fraud and corruption will make Somalia look like a saint if it's ever investigated. Oh yeah, the bill, like $9 billion or something they lost on homelessness that they just don't know where it went. It's not racist to notice Somali fraud. Citing an anonymous source with the operations, the New York Times reported that the operation will target Somalis with final deportation orders in Minneapolis-St. Paul region. Roughly 100 ICE agents have been called in for the operation, according to the New York Times. The surge in law enforcement comes as federal government expands its investigations into massive COVID-era fraud schemes. Over 75 indictments have already been issued, and Governor Tim Walz has been accused of obstruction in the case. Have we audited the Pentagon yet? No, but we need to. We need to find out where all that money went. Didn't they say something like, what was it, $2.5 trillion was missing or something insane like that the day before 9/11? Today, I have ordered an investigation into the network of Somali organizations and executives implicated in these schemes, SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler said on Tuesday. Despite Governor Walz's best efforts to obstruct, SBA continues to work to expose the abuse and hold perpetrators accountable. Full stop. This is now, in the now infamous Thanksgiving Truth Social post, President Trump highlighted the plethora of problems the state of Minnesota is facing in connection with the Somali community. Hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taken over the once great state of Minnesota. Somali gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. Trump singled out Walz and Democrat Rep. Ilhan Omar. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both. While the worst congresswoman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, and who's probably came to the U.S. illegally in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated. DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin stated, what makes someone a target of ICE is not their race or ethnicity, but the fact that they're in the country illegally. I agree. ICE to focus efforts on Twin Cities due to criminal activity. Bella is snoring like crazy. It's so loud. That's why I kept hearing something. I couldn't figure out what it was, so I took the headphones off so I can hear it. It's Bella snoring. Yeah. The country of Somalia is one big ghetto. Walz is 100% at fault, but Ellison and Flanagan are part of it also. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're gonna get some, eh? Yeah. You don't say. Mm-hmm. Hey, what's up, Spuds? Good to see you. ICE is planning on ramping up activities. Yeah, Holman said. Trump announced he was immediately rescinding protected status for Somalis living in Minnesota. Jacob Fry accused the Trump administration of committing so much time and energy and money to terrorizing certain groups within our community. You can hear Bella snore from your house. Yeah, her motor is running. Yes, yes. Holman dismissed Frey's characterization that the federal government's implementation of the immigration policy, saying the federal law enforcement was going to go to the region for illegal aliens and illegal alien criminals. And look, we've done operations in the Twin Cities, but uncovering criminal activity that Secretary Noem just talked about elevates their priority status, Holman said on Fox. And so yes, there's going to be an increase in activity up there, and we're going to hold people accountable. Well, good. It's about time they hold people accountable. There's been a lot of not holding people accountable happening for way too long. And that's got to change. Trump says New York Post says ICE agents descend on Minneapolis to crack down on Somali migrants after Trump said their country stinks. It does kind of stink, though. If anyone's ever been there would know. We need to hold people accountable. Is Ghislaine Maxwell still in that minimum security prison? As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about her getting out. Oh, here. Trump blasts Somalis as garbage who do nothing but complain and steal.
Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes, but this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that, Scott, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complained. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
Yeah, let them go back and fix their own country. They fucked it all up anyway, so why wouldn't we want them here to fuck this country up, right? So they open a new front, and they're going to send in a push for more than 100 ICE agents. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that because, like, where's it at here? Nanny Goat says, the Somalis will not go quietly. I fear it will be quite violent. Well, it could. The Somalis are known for getting violent. They're not known for winning, though. They're known for losing very violently. 88%, what the fuck? Yeah, fuck both sides. Yes. This talk makes me like Trump even more. Liberals hate him because of his mouth. He's raw. So they're targeting as many as 500 Somalis illegally in the city, which is a home to the U.S.'s largest population, estimated over 80,000. The operation follows the stunning revelation that scammers in the Somali migrant community have engaged in massive fraud costing Minnesota taxpayers some $1 billion, more than that, which happened right under the nose of the retard, according to the state's Department of Human Services. And I wanted to get to this story. It says, Stefanik says defense bill will require disclosure of FBI investigations on politicians. So we covered the stuff earlier talking about that they wanted to talk to Boasberg about him authorizing spying on Congress and not notifying them. And so now the House is passing, they added a provision into the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, that specifically says that anytime the FBI opens an investigation on, or is investigating, any federal politician or candidate for federal office, including the president, they have to be notified. Congress has to be notified of what's going on if they try to do any type of investigation on any member of Congress. It's very strange, right? So FBI wants to investigate a member of Congress. The first person they have to tell when they want to open the investigation is Congress. Trumpinator says the equally bad argument has gotten really old and tired. Let's see, Trumpinator, I see there's a difference between MAGA and the Republicans. The Republicans like McConnell and Murkowski and Collins and them. It's like, I have no use for those people. Yeah. Congressman who previously accused Speaker Mike Johnson of blocking the provisions that Trump discussed the issue with her and Johnson. Elise Stefanik has said that a key defense bill would include language mandating the FBI inform federal candidates of any counterintelligence probes that it launches. How about we just get rid of FISA and have the same rules for warrants and stuff apply to everyone equally? This isn't even FISA, though. This was judges that signed off on the warrants and subpoenas to search, to get records from phone companies. But there's already a law that said that anytime a phone company gets subpoenaed, or gets served a warrant, someone please tell me the name of 5 good Democrats in power. I can't give you the name of 5 good ones. On December 3rd, post on X, she credited the development to the conversation with Speaker Johnson and President Trump on December 2nd. Epoch Times reached out to the White House and Johnson regarding Stefanik's comments. The presidential campaign in 2016 was targeted by the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane, which was probing alleged links to the Russian government. More recently, the FBI took part in Arctic Frost, challenging, probe of the challenges to the 2020 election. Trump and 8 Republican senators were among those investigated. This is significant legislation that was delivered against an illegal weaponization of the deep state. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I thought I remembered they used FISA for spying on Congress. I don't know. No, they didn't use FISA for spying on Congress. They used FISA to spy on Trump because they used FISA to go after Carter Page, and then they got to use 2 hops to get to Trump. I'll give you the name of good Democrats: mom, dad, siblings. That's 7. He said elected Democrats, though. He said elected Democrats. Ooh, why am I so tired? What is going on? I don't understand why I'm so tired. And then it says, Trump holds phone call between Speaker and Stefanik over the NDA provision fight. Stefanik gets intelligence provision after call with Trump and Johnson. What the hell? Stefanik gets in provision after call with Trump and Johnson. She secured the provision in the annual. What the fuck? Stop doing it. In the annual defense bill requiring congressional notification of counterintelligence investigation into federal candidates after a productive conversation Tuesday with the president and Speaker Johnson. Why is this? What is going on here? After she accused Johnson of torpedoing the Republican agenda by not including the provision in the defense bill. We got this story. We got Rep. Ratskin files a complaint over Trump's 60 Minutes interview. This is fucking clown world. Fucking clown world.
4 days, 5 days, 4 years if you look at certain shooters.
So House Judiciary Committee ranking member Jamie Ratskin is demanding answers from CBS News over edits to President Trump's recent 60 Minutes interview. Ratskin on Wednesday sent a letter to CBS ombudsman Kenneth Weinstein urging an investigation into whether Trump improperly influenced or coerced editorial decisions tied to the 60 Minutes sit-down conducted November 2nd, 2025 with Norah O'Donnell. Ratskin claimed CBS cut portions of the interview at Trump's request, including questions about alleged corruption and financial conflicts of interest. He argued the edits raised First Amendment concerns because they could represent government coercion rather than independent newsroom judgment. CBS and 60 Minutes are entitled to edit anything any way they want. That's why they normally edit everything to make Trump look bad. So this is just another flailing witch hunt thing. Deadline reported O'Donnell's interview ran about 90 minutes, while CBS broadcast 28 minutes and later posted a transcript plus an extended online cut. That transparency, publishing the transcript, also fueled the controversy because it allowed critics to compare what aired and what didn't. Ratskin focused on a portion involving the president's pardon of Binance founder Changpeng Zhao and another where Trump referenced a prior settlement with CBS's parent company. People reported that Trump made it clear that the answer about the lawsuit didn't need to be included in the final broadcast. He said it doesn't need to be. They were trying, do you ever think that maybe they were trying to make Trump happy? Like, okay, are you, is there anything you don't want? I don't know. I don't know. And then the letter pointed out the broader friction between Trump and the network's corporate owner, citing Paramount's decision to settle Trump's lawsuit stemming from edits to the show's 2024 interview with then Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris. That's what this is all about. This is them trying to say, aha, you guys sued them over the edits to Kamala Harris's thing, but you didn't sue them over the edits made to the Trump things. It's like, well, the edits made to Trump things sounds like it was just they were cutting things out. They didn't actually take an answer given an hour later and inject it into a question asked now, because that's what they did with Kamala Harris. They spliced parts together to basically show something that did not happen. The settlement, widely reported at $16 million, became a critical political flashpoint amid corporate and regulatory turbulence around Paramount's merger activity. You don't say. That was a key point in the Associated Press media analysis describing the episode as a rare look into how major news programs shape an interview into a broadcast segment. The AP noted that much of what didn't air were tangents, repetitive partisan attacks, or elements producers didn't deem newsiest. The same kind of judgment calls made across journalism every day. So AP already analyzed it and said that this was all done by journalists and in a way that was, above board. So what are they suing over? What are they suing over? Ratskin, though, argued that if CBS removed segments after the president objected, it could signal fear of retaliation or corporate pressure rather than independent editorial judgment. Spuds comes in. Member for 5 months. But maybe CBS shouldn't have shilled for the DNC. Probably not. Probably not. Sorry, I didn't see it up here. I would have got to it, Spuds. MTG will be on CNN. Oh yeah, she's going to be on The View. She's going to be the new Republican host of The View. That's her. That's the one. There she is. Miss Bellican. Ratskin's press release about the complaint also included the ranking members questioning Weinstein's independence, noting the ombudsman role was created as part of the merger-related commitments. Oh. Well, she could still be a Republican like Liz Cheney or Lizard Cheney or Adam Kissassinger. Newsmax Wires contributed to this report. The Wires. Again from Axios says House Democrats asked CBS to explain Trump's 60-minute interview edit. Can't they just say that they're not? They don't. They can say like, listen, we don't discuss our internal discussions or how we edit things. That's not a process that we're willing to share with the public. Something along those lines. Oh man, I am tired and I don't know why. So that's what they're trying to do. CBS, House Democrats launch an investigation into Trump's 60-minute interview edit. Oh, okay, that's great. Then we got this story, which is very interesting, which I think I have the clip for. I'm going to look for it right now. Liberal female psychos insult minorities for joining ICE. They hate you. You're never going to belong. Let's see. I know I have it here somewhere. Let me look for it. There we go. White liberal woman sitting in front of podcast mics mocking Hispanic Border Patrol agents who put their lives on the line to protect and defend the country. Classy.
Something else you said you'd had it with are minorities in ICE.
I mean, that connects to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only do you have no moral compass, and how many times have you seen these guys? They've got their masks on, so you can't see their whole face. But what you can see, it's like a brown skin tone and a dude who looks like his last name is probably like Lopez or Hernandez or something. It's like, what is wrong with you? Not only do you not have morality, apparently you don't have self-preservation. I mean, these people hate you. They hate you. They hate your family. They hate your kids. They hate your future grandkids. They don't think you belong here. You're not a quote unquote heritage American. You're never going to belong. And you're the one implementing the violent force against your own community. I just can't wrap my head around that.
Something else you said you'd had it with are
She doesn't understand the difference between American citizens and non-Americans, illegal aliens. What the hell is even that? I don't know. You think this whole thing with MTG is kabuki theater, huh? Well, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. No, wrong thing. My bad. That's weird. won't let me start a new goal. Yeah, this is crazy, right? Yeah. It wouldn't be bad if in 8 years we had a modified Biden for 4, so Trump has to get a lot done in 4 years. We aren't guaranteed to win in 28. We need to lock in as much as we can, yes, before Dems cheat another election. Jem is making sure we are all awake. Well, not really. I was just doing something there. These women are disgusting. Yes. I want to make sure that they scared you guys awake. I want to scare you guys. They call it scared straight. Crystal misspoke. It's American, not legal American, not heritage. Yeah. Joe says, bitch, I'm brown and Latino, and I want them fuckers all deported. What is she talking about? It's not with ICE because of my heart condition. I'm not with ICE because of my heart condition. If not, I'd be kicking them out myself. Get the fuck out of here, idiot. Yeah, they both have their eyes shut because they can't see through it. Sorry, Jim, I get hyped up. I'm taking my meds now. Well, you're fine, Joe. You're fine, Joe. You are fine, Joe. We lie. You close your eyes. Yes. Passable gender affirming. Maybe. When we lie. Okay. If the clip is at volume 10, you're at maybe a 5, Jim. Oh, am I too quiet? Sorry. I turned that down. The clip was very loud. Very loud. So I apologize. You're a nice guy, Joe. That's right. She scared me. Yeah, it's called being scared straight, they say. That's what they say. So let's read the story. Let me double check to make sure what my volume is. Sound settings. Mic is at 100. Okay. Settings. Audio. Okay. Is this better? A little better, maybe? I don't know. I hope so. Try that. Might be better. No, your volume's fine. The clip was still loud. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, liberal female psychos insult minorities. These two. Podcaster Jennifer Welsh and former MSNBC personality Crystal Ball. But isn't Crystal Ball on The Hill Rising with that guy, Robbie Suave, or whatever his name is? Berated minorities who've joined ICE. And you'll see in the video below the exchange between them was extremely hateful and nasty, even racist. We have profiled Welsh before. Just to give you an idea of the sort of person she is, she's repeatedly referred to Trump advisor Stephen Miller as a Nazi Jew. Crystal Ball has severe Trump derangement syndrome, is also part of the Free Palestine mob. The Daily Caller has more details on their conversation. Border czar Tom Holman said in Fox News that Ingrid on November 25th that ICE was hiring 10,000 more agents that would be working by mid-January. Ball claimed on the podcast that minority ICE agents were morally bankrupt and were not welcome in the country. Not only do you have no moral compass, and how many times you have to see these guys, they've got their masks on so you can't see their whole face, but we can see is that they got brown skin. So that should mean they're not for deportations if you're brown. They don't have any self-preservation. I mean, these people hate you. They hate you. They hate your family. They hate your kids. They hate your future grandkids. They don't want you. They don't belong here. Whatever. We saw that clip. ICE merely enforcing immigration law that were written by Congress, including Democrats. Also note the fact that ICE is not saying that minorities are hated. Crystal Ball is. No one at ICE is saying minorities don't belong. She is. Everything she is saying is total projection. She hates ICE, but has the audacity to think she can speak for an entire organization, yet everything she says is so hateful, and it's all coming from her, not ICE. That's right. Mean Girls. She used to be on with Robbie. Now she's on Breaking Porch with Kyle. Oh, yeah, Kyle Kalinske. That's right. You can tell they're the ones making it about race. They can't tell they're the ones making it about race. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's just nuts. It's not so. That's what Twitchy says. Crystal Ball, ex-MSNBC host. But what I'm saying is, why are they calling her an ex-MSNBC host? Why don't they call her a current? Isn't she on the Hill right now? Why shouldn't she be called a current Hill co-host or whatever? She's got a very long neck too. Crystal Ball's brains are shattered. So what's wrong with you? Yeah, we saw that. They hate you. Like, am I watching a Klan meeting? Do they hear themselves? They are truly bewildered at the frequency with which reality defies their models. Yeah. The reason we would join ICE is because we aren't racist like you. We believe in law and order. Sunshine's here. What's up, Sunshine? Hey, everyone. Hey, Jim. I'm late as usual. Well, good to be here with the best chat anywhere. And certainly the best host. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Democrats obsessing about race since 1861. Yeah, that's them. Obsessing about race. Uh-oh. We've been invaded. Danger, danger, danger. Invasion. What's up, dude? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, the downfall of the U.S. will be done by liberal white women. Definitely. My legal Mexican grandparents who were born in Mexico didn't fly Mexican flags on their property. They flew American flags, and they were more anti-illegal than this lunatic could ever comprehend. SB Farmer says, #1 chat, #2 host. Oh, okay, if you say so. Who's the #1 host? Bella? Do you need your diaper changed? No. You sure? Kind of smells like it. I knew legal Mexican California with family still in Mexico who did not want their town becoming Mexico. Bella is #1. Oh, not Joe. Okay. Bella is #1? Yeah. Okay. Cult. City, urban, liberal types. See, that's what this guy says right here. See? Bella is #1. Leave the drawer shut, please. How come you're supposed to be sleeping? It's after midnight. Skin color doesn't determine political beliefs. There's also a big difference between legal immigrants and illegal aliens. Democrats refuse to acknowledge. Who is Joe? The question is, what is Joe? Joe, good logic. Well, go be a grandpa before the kid gets a rash. I'm trying to, let me play a video or something. Be a peepaw. Yeah, let me play a video real quick while I change his diaper. All right, everybody? Let me find a video to play. All right, I'm gonna play this video. It's an informative video I found on YouTube. You guys might like it. All right, so I'll play this. And then I'll yeah. And then I'll change his diaper. This is a short video. It's not long, so. Wait, what am I doing here? Let me shut my camera off. All right.
My name is Dr. Daniel Blackroyd, PhD, and I am an expert on the expanding Earth theory. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. We have the expanding Earth theory, which is the main one that we're going to focus on today. Then we have the hollow Earth theory, which is also very interesting, but it is not as popular as the other ones. After this, we will look at the scientific evidence for the expanding Earth theory, and then finally, I will show you some simple experiments that you can do at home to prove that the Earth is indeed expanding. Before we start, please make sure to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people. Let's jump right into it. Next up, let's talk about the heliocentric Earth theory. This theory is also known as the wobbly Earth theory, and it is the theory that the Earth is at the center of the universe and everything in the universe revolves around the Earth. This theory is also just as wrong as the flat Earth theory. There is zero evidence to support this theory. In fact, there is overwhelming evidence against it. For example, we know that the Earth revolves around the Sun. This is a fact. If the Earth was truly at the center of the universe, it wouldn't be revolving around the Sun. It would be revolving around its own axis. But we know that's not the case. Also, if the Earth was truly at the center of the universe, everything in the universe would be much harder to explain. For example, why would the sun rise in the east and set in the west? If the Earth was truly at the center of the universe, the sun would rise and set in the north and south. There are many other examples like this, but you get the point. The heliocentric Earth theory is just as wrong as the flat Earth theory. Now, let's talk about the expanding Earth theory. This theory is also known as the growing Earth theory, and it is the theory that the Earth is constantly expanding. This theory is supported by a lot of evidence, and I will show you some of that evidence later in this video. But first, let me explain how this theory works. So according to this theory, the Earth is constantly expanding, and it is doing so at a rate of about 2 centimeters per year. This means that every year, the Earth gets bigger by about 2 centimeters. Now, you might be thinking, if the Earth is getting bigger, then shouldn't we be able to feel that? And the answer is yes, we should be able to feel that. And we do feel it. In fact, that's how we know that the Earth is expanding. The Earth is expanding so slowly that we can't really notice it, but we can measure it with very sensitive instruments. One of the ways that we measure the expansion of the Earth is by using satellites. Satellites are basically just devices that we put into orbit around the Earth, and they are usually used for communication or for gathering information about the Earth. One of the things that satellites can do is measure the distance between themselves and the Earth, and by measuring this distance, we can get an idea of how far away from the Earth different points on the surface are. And when we compare these distances over time, we can see that the Earth is expanding. Another way that we measure the expansion of the Earth is by using lasers. We can set up 2 lasers on opposite sides of the Earth and then measure the time it takes for the light to travel from one laser to the other. When we do this, we find that the time it takes for the light to travel between the 2 lasers is always changing. And this is because the Earth is constantly expanding. As the Earth expands, the distance between the 2 lasers increases, which means that the light takes longer to travel between them. And by measuring these changes in time, we can get an idea of how fast the Earth is expanding. Okay, now let's talk about the evidence for the expanding Earth theory. Like I said before, there is a lot of evidence for this theory, and I will show you some of it here. First, let's look at this graph. This graph shows the rate of expansion of the Earth over time. As you can see, the rate of expansion has been increasing over time. This means that the Earth is expanding faster today than it did in the past. And this is significant because it shows that the expansion of the Earth is not just a random fluctuation. It is a real phenomenon that is getting worse. Next, let's look at this picture. This picture shows a map of the Earth with the areas that have been expanding the most in red. As you can see, the areas in red are mostly located near the equator. This is significant because it shows that the Earth is not expanding uniformly in all directions. It is expanding mostly in the equatorial region. Finally, let's look at this video. This video shows a simulation of what would happen if the Earth was expanding. As you can see, the simulation shows that the Earth would expand in the equatorial region and the poles would remain relatively stable. This is significant because it matches what we observe in real life. The Earth is expanding in the equatorial region and the poles are remaining relatively stable. All of this evidence points to one conclusion. The Earth is expanding and it is doing so at an increasing rate. But why is the Earth expanding? Well, that's a question that scientists don't really have an answer for. There are some theories, but nothing has been confirmed. One possibility is that the expansion of the Earth is due to an increase in the temperature of the Earth as core. If the temperature of the Earth's core increases, then the rocks and minerals that make up the core would expand in volume, which could cause the Earth to expand. Another possibility is that the expansion of the Earth is due to an increase in the pressure of the Earth's core. If the pressure of the Earth's core increases, then the rocks and minerals that make up the core would be forced to expand in volume, which could cause the Earth to expand. Finally, it is possible that the expansion of the Earth is due to some unknown process that is happening in the Earth's core. Scientists are still trying to figure out what could be causing the Earth to expand, but until they do, we have to accept the fact that the Earth is expanding. Let me finish off by saying that the Earth is expanding. It is a fact. There is overwhelming evidence that the Earth is expanding. The Earth is not flat. The Earth is not revolving around its axis. The Earth is revolving around the sun. The Earth is not a hollow sphere. The Earth is solid. The Earth is not stationary. The Earth is moving. If you don't believe me, then you can test it for yourself. You can use a simple experiment to see that the Earth is expanding.
Oh, here we go.
Here is an experiment that you can do at home to see the expansion of the Earth. You will need a long piece of string and a ruler. First, tie one end of the string to the North Pole and the other end to the South Pole. Then use the ruler to measure the length of the string.
Did you just hear what he just said? He said you take one string and you tie it to the North Pole. And you tie the other end of the string to the South Pole. And you can measure it. And you can see that it's expanding. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Do this several times, and you will find that the length of the string is always increasing. This is because the Earth is expanding. There are many other experiments that you can do to see the expansion of the Earth, but this is the simplest one. If you want to learn more about the expansion of the Earth, I encourage you to do your own research. You will find that there is a lot of evidence to support this theory. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Jim created this with Grok. No. Jim didn't create it with Grok.
It really helps us grow and reach more people.
Oh, see, this is the channel right here. It says, You Don't Know Why Files. It's the channel. And they got one about the hollow moon. Look at they've got the hollow moon. They got why the Chicago Cubs games are terrible to attend. Giants in the Bible. Huh. That's an interesting one. That's a long one, though. That's 11 minutes. That's crazy. Does that mean we own more land now? Pritzker is the ever-expanding socialist. My mind is expanding. Yeah, just AI slop. Well, it's slop, that's for sure. It's not crazy. It's lazy AI. Yeah, it's lazy AI. It is. So anyway. And you watched these. Yeah, I watched them. What do you want me to tell you? I thought they were funny. I think it's funny that someone did. It's funny. I think it's funny. I find it very funny. The Earth is both flat and hollow. I have proof. Cool. Awesome. All right, let me get back to what we were talking about before this. Skin color doesn't determine political beliefs. There's also a big difference between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. Democrats refuse to acknowledge. The guy should debate Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah. Well, he would probably be better off debating Mike Tyson. Yeah, Border Patrol and CBP are both majority minority agencies, mostly Hispanic. ICE, too, is a majority minority in most offices. Thousands of naturalized USCs work in immigration law enforcement. Turns out Americans of all ethnicities put their country ahead of their melanin level. Yeah. You're a Cube Earth believer? That's cool. That's cool. I apologize to anybody that I scared off with that. I needed something to play. Jim, you played blasphemy. What is that crap? We are at the center of the universe. The Earth is flat. No more internet for you. I just needed something that I found it funny. I thought people would laugh. That's all. And you guys might notice there's a guy in the chat named Dan Blackroyd. And that guy said his name was Dr. Dan Blackroyd. I wonder if they're related. This is how racist liberals think. You can't fathom Latino having a sole allegiance to the United States. No, crystal ball. We're not all illegals. The Earth is shaped like a 24-sided die and hollow. That's why it's such a gamble going into space. I've worked on drill ships all over the flat Earth. That makes me a subject matter expert. The idea that every minority is the same team based on ethnicity is how Democrats view our country. Posters recognize this. Yes. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to look for. What was that channel called? What was that channel called? Hold on one second. I'm looking for something. Damn it. I can't find it. Oh, man, this is bad. This is bad. Oh, man. I lost it. There it is. Okay. Sorry. Back to this one. Sorry about that. Yeah, in a crystal ball, there's no world where minorities think for themselves. All minorities are mindless drones. This is just crazy, all this stuff. Being American means more than being on the same team because of shared ideas, not shared skin color. That's right. Oh. Oh. It's just nuts that people, they don't understand that just because of someone's skin color doesn't make them any less American. So, Crowder even covered this. He says, ex-MSP host bashes minorities who join ICE. You're never going to belong. It's just crazy stuff. Then we got this story, which I thought was interesting. The family of the Colombian fishermen, they're claiming, maps are flat to fool the masses. Members of the Illuminati know where the original folds to the map to reveal the truth. The origami folds. Okay. Cool. Globes aren't. Off topic, can the press quit saying Trump called Somalis garbage? He did not call them garbage. He called Ilhan Omar garbage. Yes, I know, but they're going to lie. It says Alejandro Carranza was killed in a strike on September 15th. There's the boat. Oh, yeah. He was just a fisherman, they say. family of a Colombian fisherman who died in the U.S. military boat strike has filed a formal complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. What is the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights? You know, Democrats are prejudiced. They only virtue signal about race when it suits them. Yeah. Alleging the U.S. government illegally killed him. He was killed in a strike in the Caribbean on September 15th. From numerous news reports, we know the U.S. Secretary of Defense was responsible for ordering the bombing of the boats and the murder of all those on such boats. According to the petition, Hegseth has admitted he gave such orders despite the fact he did not know the identity of those being targeted for these bombings. You don't have to know the identity of the person that you think they have to know when they're like, oh, we're going to bomb this tank. Well, you don't know who's in the tank. We're gonna drop a bomb on it. You don't know who's in there. Are these people fucking retarded? In the petition, the lawyer, Dan Kovlak, said that the fisherman's family had no recourse. So what recourse do they think? And they have suffered injuries due to the actions of the United States. While the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights can investigate the complaint and issue findings, any ruling it makes would not be legally binding on the U.S. Oh, no shit. A Pentagon official told ABC News the department does not comment on pending litigation. The filing comes after President Gustavo Petro threatened to kill President Trump. He said he would get rid of him just like that, remember? But he accused the U.S. government of committing murder. Most of the maps are Mercator projection. I think it's equator projection. But when you get near the poles, they use gnomic projection because Santa is a gnome. Okay. While chat was going full digger about the Earth, Jim, while you were preoccupied. Oh, that's awesome. The U.S. government officials have committed a murder and violated our sovereignty in territorial waters. Yeah, we're in international waters. What are you talking about? Petro said the Colombian boat was adrift and displayed the distress signal having an outboard motor. What? We await explanations from the U.S. government. No doubt they'll have a give, send, go to recoup their losses. Yeah. 3 people killed in the attack. President Trump said at the time he ordered the military strike on a boat he insisted was carrying drugs. Reporters telling reporters the operation left big bags of cocaine and fentanyl floating in and around the ocean. Trump and Hegseth had ordered more than 20 military strikes on the drug boats. The controversial campaign has killed more than 80 people. I don't think it's controversial. Jim is one of them round earthers. I work for Big Globe. Hegseth has maintained that the strikes are all legal and claims the military has evidence that the boats were carrying drugs. Yeah, like the fucking video pictures, you could see the drugs in the boats. Like, you could see the drugs in the boats. Some leaders from both parties will question the legality of strikes and whether the president has the constitutional power to authorize them. Yeah. That would be funny if AOC sets up a GoFundMe for the cartels. I have a boat with 4 motors on it. It helps me fish faster and fill up my barrels on board. I'm sorry, what's going on? I lost track. Don't worry about it. They do have boats like that, but the boats that they have with those motors on them like that, they don't have barrels with tubing coming out because they have them connected and they have like hundreds of gallons of gas that they there, so they don't have to stop anywhere, so they can go drop the drugs off. Those things where you see the blue barrels on the boat, and they have tubes going to like extend, the mileage so they don't, so they have a range of like 2,000 miles as opposed to a 200-mile range. Yeah, that's a drug boat. One person familiar with the details confirmed that there were survivors from the initial strike, and those survivors were killed in subsequent strikes. So they're on the second strike bullshit too. Yeah. Democrats say that alone could suggest a war crime occurred. Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah. Defense Secretary Hegseth, who oversaw the initial attack, has defended the strike as legal. Oh, the tubing is so the fish can swim around and visit their friends in the different barrels. Well, those are some tiny fish then, because the tubing is just like real skinny for the gas to flow through. The defense secretary told reporters on Wednesday that he watched the first strike unfold before leaving for meetings. He said he did not see survivors or any strikes that followed. Then then the admiral, he said, who ordered the second strike, made the right call. Oh, maybe they're beer kegs. You're right. They would have a keg when they would fish. Oh, yeah. They would have 20 beer kegs on their boat. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely what that's definitely what they would have. Definitely would have that. Definitely. And then same thing, same story from the Washington Post. Basically, family of Columbia man killed in U.S. boat strike files formal complaint. A Colombian kegger party, yeah, with lots of cocaine, because nothing goes better with a keg than cocaine. Alejandro Andres Calzana Medina's family alleges that the Trump administration committed human rights violations in the campaign against him. I'm sure this is the guy who was also arrested. One of these guys was previously arrested in another country for drug trafficking, and they just released him. He's a 42-year-old fisherman. Yeah, I'm sure he was. Where's the fish? They got to look for the red Solo cups. That's how they'll prove it's a kegger. Yeah. They need someone to replace the Maryland man. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Oh, you know what else? I totally forgot. Let me find it. Now that I think about it. I totally forgot when we were talking about that Jemiah Powell, whatever her name is. Plamaya Plow lady. Jara Plow, Maplapa Plow lady. Wow, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here we go. When we were talking, I forgot when we were talking about this. I had this to pull up, and I screwed it up. So when Playa Paul was talking, it says she just announced a new bill to completely eliminate the ability for ICE to detain illegal aliens, and that says we can't share a country with these people. All right, and then here's it says. Yeah. If this doesn't prove that illegal immigrants are voting, I don't know what does. Yeah. No other reason the Democrats would pull for this. She's just announced a new bill to completely eliminate the ability of DHS to contain aliens. Do you see who this is standing next to her? This is that Khalil guy that they were trying to deport. The guy who lied to get into the country. He's a Hamas supporter, and he somehow came in. He's in his late 20s. He got a student visa to come in, and then within less than a year, Biden gave him a green card. All right. Here he is. He's like, this Mahmoud Khalil, no one should be detained for immigration enforcement. Get this guy out of my country. This guy who should have already been fucking deported. All right?
They are being tarnished in the media while they didn't do anything. No one should...
This guy's a fucking terrorist.
Being tarnished in the media while they didn't do anything.
You did a whole bunch of shit. You took over colleges.
Enforcement. No one. There's no need for detention for immigration enforcement. As Congress...
What he's doing right now is a violation of our laws. He's trying to influence our legislation. He's not a fucking American citizen. He has no green card. They revoked his green card. He has no legal status in the United States. He's a foreigner interfering in our election. They should charge him with violating the law. He's a foreigner trying to influence an election. That's called FARA, foreign agent. Yeah. Lock him up. I wanted to show this. Fuck this guy. I hate this guy. These are Democrats are so evil they're releasing murderers on our streets instead of letting Republicans deport them. Yeah, chilling new details emerge about the killer illegal migrants sprung from New York jails instead of being handed off to ICE. Look at these guys. Look at them. Look at all these white people that they're not letting ICE deport. It's crazy, right? Look at them. That's nuts. Oh, before we get into that, I wanted to show this real quick because this is very important. Franklin retakes Constantinople. This is awesome. Man. Yes. Yes. Crusade. Chilling new details emerge about the killer migrants responsible for 29 homicides that were sprung from New York jails instead of being handed over to ICE. A nautical mile is 1 second of 1 minute of 1 degree of longitude at the equator. I recently changed from 60, 80 feet to 60, 76 feet. If anything, this is proof the Earth is shrinking. Wow. Wow. You love Franklin. I love the Franklin memes. Yes, me too. Adios, míos. En la sala cuero, tatano loco. Chilling new details have emerged about the illegal aliens, including killers, tied to 29 homicides. Who have been released onto the streets of New York given to sanctuary laws. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the violent rogue galleries include the likes of Cuban national and convicted killer Jose Antonio Andres Quezada, an illegal alien from a criminal history including homicide, larceny, disorderly conduct. Yeah, he's got a whole fucking laundry list of crimes, but they still released him instead of giving him to ICE. He was released from Rikers Island only to be picked up again on a parole violation, with ICE promptly putting a detainer on him August 16th. But they didn't abide by it. They don't abide. The dude doesn't abide. That's what they say. The dude doesn't abide. Oh. I like this guy. Yeah. Criminal alien from Cuba. And you got this guy, Anastasio Tejera Almonte, a criminal and Dominican national with a rap sheet including homicide, assault, illegally carrying a weapon, and flight to avoid prosecution. Yes. Despite an detainer lodged in May, he was released from the New York Department of Corrections. He's getting ready to run for office. If the earth was really flat, cats would have knocked everything off by now. I mean, come on. Yeah. These men are just 2 of the 6,947 criminals released from New York jails in the past year, despite having active ICE detainers. Yeah, another white male. Yeah. The killers were cut loose, and many of them have 9 toes out the door rather than being removed from the country. In accordance with the city and state sanctuary policies. Where's the what? Who? What? The remote control? Why? You don't need to change the channel? What's wrong with Blippi? Yeah. I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute. Hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry. Bella had to go pee. Man. Kids have a schedule? Could have fooled me. Yeah. Poor Jim. It'll be a long night for him. It's been rough, man. And kiddo's awake and Jim is yawning. Go figure. Yeah. It's going to be bad. But he'll be all right. So this terrifying list continues with these other people convicted of all these crimes. Look at this one. Oh. Another one. Oh, here's a white man. Kind of looks white. Hector de Souza Velata. So I could say that's, he looks white to me. ICE detainer placed on him and made and stopped Queens Central Booking from letting him go. There they all are. They're all getting released. Despite this efforts, criminals such as Ecuadorian national, whose charges include public order crimes and obstruction, was released from custody. They're all white. Don't be racist. Okay, sorry. Young Theo Vaughn with a time machine. Could be. Yeah, so we got all that stuff. All right. And then we got this story. All right. 18-year-old in Charlotte, North Carolina is being held on a $5.3 million bond after he was charged for 16 shootings. 16 shootings. All right. Not shooting 16 people. 16 separate shootings. Bella, what are you doing? Come here. It's his third arrest in 3 months. He's 18 years old. Due to Irena's law, he's finally being held in jail.
Bond amount that could be the new norm in North Carolina. This morning, a Charlotte teen accused in a series of shootings into homes is now in jail on a $5.3 million bond. Officers first arrested Daquan Mills last month for a shooting on Redwood Drive. He was also charged for a second shooting while in custody.
Investigators say that's on top of 2 other prior arrests that Mills had for other charges. He's currently accused of crimes ranging from damage to property to shooting into an occupied dwelling. Now experts say that this could be in part due to the fatal stabbing of Irina Zarutska on the light rail this summer, which sparked national attention. The statewide anti-crime bill dubbed Irina's Law went into effect on Monday.
Bond amount that could be the new norm in North Carolina.
Well, it's the norm if you are charged with 16 separate shootings. I mean, 16 shootings. That's like, if you do the math on it and break it down, yeah, he's 18. Yeah, send him to prison. They could use his DSLs in there. So that's crazy, right? And we got this story. 11 police officers in Britain broke into the home of a woman and arrested her while she was still naked. Her crime? She sent a text to someone calling the man who assaulted her a faggot. The UK has fallen.
I've heard 11 police officers turned up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd left my front door open. I was waiting for my dad to come to the house. I was actually in the bath.
And 11
they opened the door themselves.
And just came in?
And came in.
And you're in the bath?
Yeah.
And what do they say to you?
Well, I heard my name, which was one female out of the lot of them.
And 10 male officers?
Yeah. And then I heard my name. And I thought, oh, it might be my sister because it didn't sound like someone who was, because obviously I was upstairs in the bath. And then they just come up the stairs and they didn't give me any privacy or anything. Like I had
You were naked?
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
Disgusted. I'm really upset. I was crying my eyes out.
And what did they say to you? What did they say they were there for?
Well, I was just asking them, can they just leave the female officer and can they please go downstairs as... obviously I was upset and I had no clothes on and they kind of wanted to watch me get changed and I was very upset about that. In the end, they did send the males down the stairs and the female officer sat with me. I was crying my eyes out. I was really upset. And then I said, well, what are you even here for? Because I was shocked. I was in utter shock.
Shock.
And she said...
Utter shock.
For malicious communications.
Malicious communication. Hate crime.
Malicious communications. And I said,
Wow.
well, what for? And they said, we'll discuss that when we get to the...
She called someone a faggot.
The police station.
She called someone a faggot. someone who assaulted her, or raped her, I believe, sexually assaulted her. She texted something about him being a faggot to someone else since they got reported because they monitor everything. And so she said something mean. Life in prison? Wow. Yeah. She said something mean. It's crazy, right? Oh, yeah, it's nuts. This is crazy, right? Legitimately chilling. A Democrat attorney general opened an investigation into a Christian charity for no reason at all. Zero complaints. Show me the Christian, I'll show you the crime.
Did you have complaints that formed the basis of your concern about the fundraising activities here?
We certainly had complaints about crisis pregnancy centers that petition.
No, about this crisis pregnancy center.
So I think we've been clear from the outset that we haven't had complaints about this specific.
So you had no basis to think that they were deceiving any of their contributors?
I don't think that's correct, Your Honor. I think we had carefully canvassed all of the public information that is provided on the website of First Choice in making a determination that we wanted to initiate an investigation.
But you had no factual basis?
I don't think that's true, Your Honor. I think, for example, you could take a look at a comparison between the donation page for First Choice that we have carved out from the very beginning.
So you had no complainants?
We had no complaints, but the state governments, federal government, initiate investigations all the time in the absence of complaints where they have a reason to suspect that there could be potential issues of legal compliance. And look, it could be the case based on our investigation, when we look at documents, when we look at information, that ultimately will determine that First Choice isn't liable for any violation of the law.
Well, that just seemed to be a burdensome way to find out whether someone has a confusing website. But you said earlier that you did not agree with their characterization of why they were being put to this. And it would seem that the obvious way to refute that was to say we had 100 complaints. But you say you have no complaints, but rather you looked at the website and their materials and you think it could have been misleading. So why is your characterization any better than theirs?
So, Your Honor, I'd point you to the Turner Declaration, which is at pages 400 to 401 of the Joint Appendix, which lays out the predicate for the state's investigation of First Choice. And we had concerns in 4 buckets. We had concerns about potentially misleading donors. We had concerns about the unlicensed practice of medicine. We had concerns about patient privacy practices. And we had concerns about potentially misleading or untrue medical statements. So I think we had a more than ample basis to initiate this investigation.
But you had no complainants.
We had no complaints, but I think that, Your Honor, that goes at most to the merits. That doesn't.
The merits. So they opened an investigation with no fucking information at all that this company, this crisis pregnancy center, did anything wrong. Just they didn't like them. They didn't like the website, what it said, because it was a Christian-based, not killing babies website. And in New Jersey, if you have a website that says, hey, don't kill a baby, maybe we could do this, maybe we can help you or stuff like that, they're going to come after you and target you and try to go after your donors and do all this shit. And that's what they did. They're fucking communists. Fucking communists. It's just communist shit what they did. Show me the man, I'll find you the crime. Here's this guy, go look. And so that's basically like said, we could have found that they didn't do anything wrong. You're not supposed to investigate somebody unless you have proof they fucking did something wrong. You need to have proof they did something wrong before you start investigating them. Something. Yeah, it's persecution, not prosecution. The cops can't just pull you over and search your car and go, oh shit, we thought maybe you might have something in the car. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, if you don't have nothing, we don't find nothing, we'll let you go. And it's not how it works. It's not at all how any of this works. But that's what they're doing. They're just targeting people, trying to find. Not if you're a Democrat. Yeah. It's just nuts. Democrat AG opened an investigation at Christian charity for no reason at all. Zero complaints. Show me the Christian, I'll show you the crime. Here goes Tim Waltz. He's going to say, that's what scammers do is they target giveaway programs and figure out ways to exploit them. That's why they're called scammers. But I'm sure AG Ellis is going to keep a watchful eye on it unless someone provides him with enough campaign contributions. Libby Evans says, Tim Waltz says it's disrespectful to assume that the new medical and family leave program will be targeted by scammers in Minnesota. Every fucking program they have in Minnesota is targeted by scammers. All right, but here's Tampon Tim.
Aren't people going to abuse the program? How disrespectful to people to assume that all Minnesotans are scamming. That's what I hear from them all the time. I trust Minnesotans. I believe
trust
in
them.
Minnesotans. I believe they know. You're not going to get rich, and it's not your full salary. You're not going to scam and take time off. But this is complicated. This was a very good question about multiple members coming off. My family's dealing with this with a mother-in-law. My wife and her 3 sisters, my sisters-in-laws, have a schedule where they take turns every couple of days being responsible, and then they shift off, and then they shift off. As it stands right now, they leave their jobs without pay to do that. This will make it so much easier. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the program. But aren't people going to abuse the program? How disrespectful.
Derek Richards lost weight. Yeah, looks like it, right? Yeah. Waltz is in trouble. Waltz is in trouble. Mm-hmm. But, no. Yeah. This guy calls enforcing the law not American. Immediately starts babbling in a foreign language. Fails to see the irony. Yeah. Beyond parody, Minneapolis mayor says he will refuse to cooperate with ICE and then begins speaking in Somali.
That's not American. That's not what we are about. And we're going to do right by every single person in our cities. And so, to our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somalied Kunul, Minnesota, Garahan, Minneapolis, Waan, Ku Janila Hai, Waan, Ku Gereb, Taganahan. That's not American. That's not what we are about.
Wow. All right, everybody. Well, unfortunately, we've gone 3.5 hours. So we've done the extra hour. We did not hit the second goal for a second additional hour. So that's going to be it for us this evening. I want to thank everybody who stopped by, and please remind you to please hit the like button and please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Leave a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. All right? It really helps with the algorithm. It's crazy how it's the algorithm. But anyway, we'll see you guys all again probably Thursday night. If I don't stream tomorrow, I'll definitely see you Friday. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream tomorrow night, Thursday night or not. I'm going to send you over to the show called Third Railify. Go check them out, see what they're all about. I was on their show last night after we ended our stream. I went on their show for a little while. They invited me on. So they seem like friendly people. So have a nice night, everybody. Peace.